Good, Mrs. Ryan?
Yeah.
All right, pressing the button.
Okay.
Big show! Big show!
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Hello, Mrs. Ryan.
Hello, hello.
Welcome back.
Hi.
What's happening?
It's a busy day.
We've got a full house. Welcome back, everybody. All right, today is Friday, May 10th, 2019. My name is Jay Ryan. This is Nicole Ryan. We are the Ryans, and this is It's Tonight's show. Mrs. Ryan and I have been going since very early this morning because today is Friday. We're doing a Friday show. It's our pre-Luft Spectacular, our annual show. We've already been to Breakfast Club.
That's what Fridays are for.
And it wasn't a small one. I don't know where to start. Should we start with the weather in LA today that we did not expect?
That's a great idea.
Woo! I kept checking it, and it was like, oh, there was a chance of rain in the whole bit. It's LUFTGEKUHLT weekend. That's when it rains here in LA. That just seems to be how it works. Anyway, one thing led to another. Tons of weather this morning. Nothing but weather. There was rain. There was fog. There was deer. I don't know if that's weather or nature. But lots of obstacles, and still it was a massive Breakfast Club. So many people who said they were coming didn't come, I'm assuming because of the whatever. But the people that did come in droves from all over the place. A woman drove a 356 from Illinois. No joke.
She is awesome. Hi. That drive is so from Chicago. Like it's and right here, it's so crazy. It was neat.
So anyway, it's been a heck of a morning, but we have a full house here. We've got TORY ALONZO is here today, NICOLAS HUNZIKER is here today, and Mr. RAY SHAFFER from Porsche is here today. We're going to blow it out. It's going to be a blast. Last time we all did this, we were still in the old Life with the Ryans dining room little setup.
Mm-hmm.
It was before we had this beautiful studio and this amazing set and all this stuff. So we're just going to get right into it today. I have one video I'd like to play, which happens to be our LUFTGEKUHLT trip from last year.
Okay.
So it's all of these people. But 1 year ago. It's not
Cool.
a TBT. I guess it's Friday. Maybe it's an FBF.
FBF.
But no card for that. So we'll just roll it, and when we come back, we're going to do some really quick what's going on, and then we're going to start the guest cavalcade.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. Good, Mrs. Ryan?
Mm-hmm.
All right, fantastic. I feel like I'm just now starting to slow down, settle into the show. A little woo, woo, woo.
A little bit.
I feel like we're on. Sorry, I know I introduced that clip. We'll come back to it. There's a little bit of a. Like when you just run a marathon and you're like, oh, you don't, I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, ready for that clip? Here we go. Roll it, Hal. I love what you do for me. Toyota. Woo! We're at Toyota, but we're at LUFTGEKUHLT. But we're at Toyota. But we're at LUFTGEKUHLT.
Here we go.
Well, but I just spotted this sucker. Hi, Professor. See you in there.
We're on the bus to LUFTGEKUHLT. It's happening.
We're in LUFTGEKUHLT.
Thank God.
Her first time.
Ever.
And over here we see some people we know. Oh my goodness. Wow, there you go. Thank you.
Yeah, I love all the patina 356s, man. That's like where my car would be. I've got a 60 356.
And Van Morrison, Life with the Ryans, here in LUFTGEKUHLT with their fascination.
these cars.
I know you.
Come in on this.
I know
Come in
you.
on this.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
How's it going, you guys?
Good.
Better now.
Much better now. Yes. I know. I was worried we lost you guys. It's like really easy to get lost here, man.
Are you having fun?
Oh my god. I can't even, like, this is so like overwhelming and sensory overload. Like it's ridiculous. Carlson.
Randy Carlson.
Bug and Box on Instagram.
Bug and Box on Instagram. This was his dad's car. How cool is that? It's not a jackalope. It's not a kangaroo. It's not a squirrel. It's a springer.
Just to clarify.
There you go. Just started making. Just watching you get the gift. All right, so we're getting ready to leave this awesome LUFTGEKUHLT, but we ran into this guy. Found him. The professor. Dwight, what's up? Hello. Mrs. Tory, B-dubs. Did you have a good time?
Oh my god. How can you not? Look at this.
Such a great time.
Fantastic. I'll be back next year.
It's been awesome. We're out. I love it.
What a good time that was.
I can't believe it's been a year.
Yeah, don't get me started.
Just a little bit over a year, actually, because it's been, it was April last year, LUFTGEKUHLT.
Yeah, you guys were talking about it. I cannot believe how much time has gone by. It is crazy.
Well, I love that we have a whole full boat again, and
Yeah.
I'd like to get them in here. So before we have to do that, it's time to ask the question that's on everyone's mind.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
What's going on, Mrs. Ryan? Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
I want to get them in too, so I'll be quick today.
Oh, you're so awesome. Go ahead.
There's a village in France that's offering a reward for a description.
Oh, reward. I got you.
A reward. There's a rock in the local place that has some weird inscription on it that they can't figure out for years, and so they're opening it to the public and saying, like, if you can figure this out.
Is it like a riddle, or is it one of those where it's just so faded that it's hard to make out? We don't know what language it's in.
It's like 7 letters. They don't know what languages it is.
Okay.
So what else?
What else? Okay.
It's interesting. I don't know enough about it, but they don't either. So it's like,
Oh, I see.
if you can, it's like, if you're really good at Harry Potter, you might know this. It's so convoluted. This.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Neat.
It's curious.
Yeah.
This is interesting to me because it makes so much sense, but they're just now starting to experiment with the fact that you can treat yourself with your own microbiome.
Oh, yeah.
So they're making pills out of your own stuff to treat your own stuff.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I don't like the pill part. I think so much of it is up here. It's more of a placebo.
Well, okay. That's interesting. I was going to say that if they're using our own stuff, that means that we can do it.
Yeah.
We may not know how, but it means that we can do it. If you're taking our stuff, taking it out, putting it back in, you know what I'm saying?
We have
Somehow.
the solution's in the problem. So
Yeah, right.
It's in your body. So it's super neat. The pill thing weirds me out only because it seems fake, and I don't want anyone touching my stuff. Like, it's in there. Like, figure it out. But that's an alternative that I like better than opioids. So
Yeah, totally. That makes sense.
have a gander. Delta is testing free Wi-Fi.
Oh.
This month it's starting. They're doing it for a good reason of figuring out how to better serve their customers. So I love that idea. They're examining their services, seeing who's using stuff, seeing what people use it for.
Yeah, that's the part I was going to say. It's free, but then I was going to say, but they're probably tracking your activity, which I don't care for.
I don't like it either. I just
guess
feel like it's
everybody's
being
tracking
done
their activity
anyway.
somehow.
So
Yeah, you're probably
if
right.
they're using it to better their service, I'm all for it. It's like, whatever.
Yeah.
So if you're on Delta, Wi-Fi is free.
Is that for a certain amount of time? Is that a
For
trial
a few
period?
months, but it's a trial period. But it's on 55 flights a day, so it seems like check before you go. But if you really want Wi-Fi, you're gonna get it anyway. So
Right. Yeah, if you need it or right.
whatever. Save $13. Lastly, North Carolina is testing something that I thought was so cool. It's called Mood Notes. And it's one school in particular that's trying it out, but it's basically like the kids can put it. She puts Post-its out every day, and the kids can write their the teacher, sorry, and the kids write their name on the back, and they put it on the board to say how they're feeling. Like I had a sucky day.
Hang on, I get this. But that's written on the back, and it's almost like voting. Like you put it at a certain place on the board. Is that what you mean?
No.
Oh, I see. Okay.
The kids write down how they're feeling. I had a shitty day, and they write their name on the back. And the teacher, it's up to her discretion, but she looks through, and if anyone is having an awful day, she has the discretionary capacity to like see who it is and call it. And kids know.
So it's a way of not complaining, but it's a way of maybe checking in with some ambiguity.
Yeah. They're experimenting to explore feelings communally without being.
I don't understand this one fully, but I really like the direction it's going. It seems to be a more an attempt at understanding, and I love that.
That's all I could get was like students sharing their feelings, so that like you're not alone. Like I feel this way too.
Yeah.
You can see that, and the teacher can see like this test that I gave caused a lot of stress for people. Why? You didn't think about it. But they're addressing things, and I love that everyone is looking at things that way of like, how can I make things better for people?
Yeah,
so
I agree.
If you can implement that in your life, I think that's awesome.
And that's been the news thing. Hey, well done.
That's what's going on.
And that's been what's going on.
Someone did that to me today, and
what? Oh, you're kidding.
The end, and I almost cried.
At Breakfast Club?
Uh-huh.
And do you know who it was?
Yes.
Oh, but we're not saying.
I don't.
That's great though. That's very funny.
It was such a good moment. Made me so happy.
Funny. All right, well that's it. It's time to take a quick break and start the guest cavalcade of stars
the boys,
that we have here today. Yeah, I think we're going to start with TORY, ALONZO, VW for life, and then we're going to go down the line.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
We are going to take a quick break. When we come back here, our good old friend, booker on this show, producer of this show, TORY, ALONZO, VW for life, will be sitting in that chair right there. We are very excited about it. See you in a few. this first. Put this right here so you can say,
And we're back!
yeah! And we are back. Sitting here with good old buddy Tory Alonzo.
So good
Our
to be
first
back.
guest ever on this program, even when it was the old life with the Ryans.
That's a fact.
How are you, buddy?
I'm
Welcome back.
great. It's hard to be bad when you're in LA.
Hard to be bad.
Yeah, I could do with a little more sunshine.
Man, you guys brought the weather. Everybody.
I didn't bring the weather. It was beautiful in Pittsburgh. I should have brought the weather.
Really?
I didn't. Yeah, it was like, it's been in like the mid 70s, sunny. It's been beautiful there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And then I come here and it looks like I land in Seattle. But
Yeah, it's fully Seattle.
Whatever.
You
It's all
heard us
good.
before talking about the weather on the way to Breakfast
Right,
Club.
right.
So you came to your first Breakfast Club
I
today.
did. It's not my first time to Newcomb's Ranch, but it's my first time to do the Breakfast Club with the Porsches, and it did not disappoint. Had a great time. It was
Even
awesome.
with the weather, there was quite a turnout.
Even with the weather.
Somebody said there were 40 cars, which is
40?
decent. Yeah, that's decent. I
Whoa.
mean, we've had more than that before.
Yeah,
believe it.
but that's a good
But even
turnout.
with the I mean, so many groups of people that
Right.
RSVP'd or whatever didn't make it.
Right.
So I can't even imagine. I feel like it actually was like it all worked out.
It's neat because it's hard to gauge how it is as an outsider looking in unless you're there. But when you see everyone just kind of comes and goes as they please,
Yes.
it's really neat. Like
not organized.
it's like a revolving door of
Yeah.
different cars, and people come in, stop, say hi. They may get caught up in conversation. They may not. They may just come for a quick drink and then down the hill they go. It's neat. I loved it.
Isn't
I'd be
that-
up there every Friday if I lived here. I
So
really
glad
would.
you like it.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really neat.
I'm so glad that you're receiving exactly what we intend, which
Yeah.
is easy.
It's good vibes.
It's
That's
just easy,
all it
good
was. You
vibes.
walk in, it's like positive energy. It's
like
just like a
family.
breath of fresh air. It was so nice.
And some pretty cool cars, even in the weather.
Absolutely, yeah. Everybody that came
There's
out.
some rare stuff. There was an Emery Outlaw.
Emery Outlaw. There's a Gunther Works car.
Yep,
the carbon
Gunther Works
fiber
came.
Gunther Works car, the 356 that that
Girl.
Pamela Brundage drove
Pamela
from
Brundage.
Illinois. Like, I mean,
But she's the one that was in the Forbes article, right?
correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha.
Yep, that's her. And
Yes.
she's also a flight attendant for American Airlines. So we were talking about
And
airline
you work
stuff,
for-
and I work for Southwest. So.
Right. And apparently you guys had that in common in that we just do trips so that we can pay for our hobbies and,
Basically,
and
like,
our motor rebuilds.
support our car hobby. Yeah, exactly. So that was cool.
But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Oh, it was great. Had a blast. And I rode up with PCH driver Sean and his Cayman.
Sean the producer from Wheeler Dealers that was on the show a
Absolutely.
couple weeks ago.
Yes. And then rode down with Nicolas in his GT3. So I kind of got
You got a little of
did we
everything.
hold you up too much?
no.
Oh, okay.
Driving pace was perfect.
Because
It was
his,
nice.
I mean, he not only his aptitude for driving and experience, but also, I mean, his car too. I mean, everything about it, he could go around us at any point.
It's amazing how well set up your car is for the Crest, though.
For the Crest, yeah.
Because that car, it never looked unsettled, because it was neat to see from behind you. I could
Oh, the
watch your
physics.
line, and the
Yeah.
physics, and the car was
Oh.
never unsettled, never looked squirrely. The car was just planted and doing its thing, and we had a blast. And I mean, I would say we were not
Five
going-
over.
Yeah,
5 over.
of course, allegedly.
I mean, there was a couple straights where we might have pushed it. But,
Yeah,
you know,
but
it
it
is
was.
what it is.
It's a blast. It's so much fun.
I'm so glad to hear you say that. And
Yeah.
it's really neat to hear what the car looks like. Because
Yeah.
we don't, you know
That
what
was
I mean?
cool,
Like,
too. I
there's
didn't
a
even-
million pictures of it out there,
Right.
but we're all static.
And I was trying to get some pictures and some video on the way down, but on the way up it was so foggy that nothing would focus, and then on the way down, you know, you're so quick that, you know, it was hard to do. But
Oh, photos?
yeah,
we needed
blur.
my gold. We needed Totes my gold
Yeah,
to come
yeah.
and shoot with his lenses and
yeah.
everything.
My little iPhone 6 Plus wasn't cutting the mustard today on the Crest.
Are you still
That's
on a
okay.
6 Plus?
Still on a 6 Plus.
Are you thinking about upgrading?
Maybe.
I'm not trying to, but if you do, can I buy your 6 Plus?
You
Because
can just
it's
have it. You just take it.
even better. These the cameras that we use in here are the old iPhones, and it's like if you put a new one, they don't match. And we
Oh,
need to
that
get
makes
all new
sense.
ones, and I'm not going to go
Yeah.
spend $6,000 on
Right.
iPhones that are cameras.
We're going for 2013 technology here.
Honestly, yeah. that's what
Yeah, if it works,
I mean,
why not?
We're doing 60s technology over
Exactly.
here.
Hey,
So,
it's all good. We got the whole gamut
It
of
all works.
generations. Yeah, it's awesome.
can we talk about your shirt there, buddy?
We can, yeah. So that's
Many people may recognize that shirt from the credits of this show.
that's my old 356. That's
Well, your current 356
yes.
happens to be an old car.
Happens to be an old car.
But that's the 211 that is in the drive-in tag at the end of this show.
It is.
And how did that shirt come about?
So, a friend of mine on Instagram just happens to post one day, hey, I've got the classic Porsche 356 Racer T available now. I was like, that's awesome, but I didn't know anything about this.
It was your car in the picture.
It was my car. It was my picture, essentially.
Yeah, you took the picture.
I took the picture. This is the same picture that's in the credits. And I think he just ran it through like a cartoon, filter
Some
or
app
something.
thing, yeah.
Threw it on a T-shirt and was selling them. And
the thing is, here's the problem with it. I effing love it.
I do too, and that's why I bought one.
So that's the answer.
Yeah,
you bought your own.
I
took the photo. You bought the car. Took the photo. Some guy stole both.
What are you gonna do, man?
Oh gosh,
It's all
I think
good.
it's great.
Well, the reason I want to wear it is because I knew I'd be up at Breakfast Club today, and I'd be around all of these people that I knew from Instagram, but they
Yes.
didn't necessarily know me. So I figured,
Right.
if I plaster my own car on my shirt, then people will know who I am.
Right.
And I sure as hell, I got like 5 or 6 people that were like, "Oh, I follow you on Instagram. I know
Awesome.
you're." So that mission accomplished. Whatever. Just
Well,
cost me $26.
I was going to say a lot of people know you once they meet you, but they don't know you just standing over there. You know what I mean? Your name is
Right.
getting out there from between VW for Life and actually Tory Alonzo from the work you're doing with us and HUNZIKER and stuff.
Right.
So it's a whole weird conundrum.
It is.
But I feel like you should get the artwork and then do like magnets and stickers.
I'd love
and
to.
whatever the heck else.
That would be cool because that's like the thing now is like everyone's giving out their little decals and like P-Car Talk guys were
even we
there.
do it
Like
with
you've
the
got your
111s.
111s, so I need to do some. So maybe I'll get the artwork from this.
What's the name of the guy?
Rana Chalinga is it's Renee.
Renee Chalinga, if there's any way that we can possibly get that image from you, I am begging because we love it, for one. And he did take the picture into his car, and I feel like it's probably the right thing to do. But anyway, it would be really great if we could get that because I feel like there's a lot of things that people don't know going on behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
It would be nice to have.
I agree. I'll talk to John Benton tonight because he actually films all the stuff that John Benton does at the Carrera Panamericana in Mexico. So they're all juiced in. So that's why I didn't really cause a big stink about it.
Oh, you're not the kind of guy who would sue over it or anything or say, hey, stop that.
Stop
it's still
that.
promotion
Yeah,
for you.
Exactly. It is. So.
Plus, your car looks so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
I do, yeah. It's
everything
neat.
about it.
I don't know if Shell signed off on that, but that's okay. That's all right. Whatever. I don't think they care about that stuff in Mexico. They got bigger fish to fry. So.
Well, it's a nice segue, though, to that car and what's going on with it. Can we talk about that? What's going on? Yeah. What's going on with that car?
What's going on is my engine lasted a whopping 100 miles.
So for those who may remember, there was a big, massive engine rebuild going on. Finally got it together and the whole bit, and it was a lot of hoopla, and everyone was very excited about it. No one more than you.
No one more than me, yeah. And my pocketbook for getting a break finally. Yeah, it lasted 100 miles. Basically what happened was...
Let me do the slow push here.
Basically what happened is,
music.
it was actually the day that I took this picture of all things. The day that that was going to be my break-in drive or whatever, and I got back home.
You hear that, Renee?
It was super, yeah. It was super noisy. I was like, that doesn't sound right. I drained the oil and got the dreaded flakes in the oil, copper flakes, which is bearing. So I was like, great. So
yeah, you can tell from the material what
absolutely
it is, right?
You can. So I was like, great. So I, pulled it back in the garage, and that night I had the entire engine stripped down because I can't.
Oh, that's right. You called me after a little bit of your own time. You're like, sorry, I haven't gotten back to you. It's not been a good day, but here's what's going on.
Yes.
And you're like, tomorrow I'll probably. You went right back. You hung up the phone, went right
hung
back
up the
out
phone
to the
with
garage.
you, went back out there and pulled the thing
Got
out.
your wrenches and tore it apart.
Yeah, tore it apart. So long story
Good move,
short,
by the way. I support that move.
I wanted to
You
sleep
wouldn't have been
that
able to
night.
sleep. Yep.
Thank you.
100%.
Sure. Man. So
well, we're
it's
all
the
the
same.
same.
It's all the same. So long story short, of course now I'm second guessing everything I did, and I'm a pretty capable engine builder. At that point, I was yes. And when I stripped everything down, I figured out that the crankshaft, which was brand new, which was bought by
brand new part, like brand new part,
brand new in the box from AA Performance or Pistons or whatever, it's AA.
Mm-hmm.
They have about a 50-50 shot of being good parts or bad parts. Like I've talked to different engine builders, and they're like, "Yeah,
we've
had
this
good luck with
50-50
them."
Your opinion now? or when
God,
you
no.
purchased it?
No, not now, because I've talked to people since then.
No, my point is, did you buy a part knowing it was 50-50 and put it in the heart
No,
of your
not
engine?
then.
I wouldn't think so.
No,
That's
not
your
then.
style
It wasn't
even a little bit.
No.
You wouldn't
The
pinch pennies in
track
that
record
way.
was much better as described to me when I was building the engine.
Wanted to make sure that was
After the fact, now come to find out, there's more people than I had originally been told that have had issues with these parts.
So now your opinion is 50-50.
My opinion now is just cry one and write the check and buy the best thing you can, which I have since done. So now I have a scat crankshaft on order. So
Porsche rule anyway,
basically
right?
what happened, so the smoking gun we found out was that this crankshaft was not properly heat treated. And so it's not hardened, and when it's not hardened, it's
How do you
not
tell
going to
that?
last.
How do you? Can you tell that? Just
So
by-
all we did was take a punch to it and then just
you tapped it?
tink, and it put a huge divot in it. Well,
Right,
it's
and it
not
shouldn't
supposed to.
have if it were tempered, right?
Absolutely not.
Right.
No. So it was not heat treated properly. And I've since
It's not
spoken
something you
to
wanna
other
put in-
people that have had similar issues. So it's a known problem apparently. So
All right, so that
So-
was the culprit.
that was the culprit. So now I'm basically in the process.
But how much damage did that do to other things?
Oh,
Obviously, that
it
piece
took a lot out with
disintegrates.
it. The rods are salvageable. I have to get obviously all new bearings. So main bearings, rod bearings for it.
Everything you'd just done.
Everything I just done. So it's basically like aside from the heads
do-over
out,
plus.
yeah, pretty much a bottom end rebuild now again. Whatever. So now I'm overbuilding it. So I'm going.
Good.
I had AA pistons, and I don't even want to
Why
take
would
a
you
chance.
chance it,
Yeah.
right?
So big shout out to Walt Watson at Competition Engineering in Lake Isabella because he's really helped me out.
That's the
and
machinist who's helping you?
He's one of them. Yeah, he's basically told me like, look, just go with the scat crank. We've never had problems with those. Those are great crankshafts. And in the
Little
VW
more money,
world,
right?
they're very
A lot more money.
it's
But you
almost
get what you pay for, hopefully?
$2,000 crankshaft. Yeah. Yep.
That's
But
what it is.
hey, I mean, you just have to pay to play.
Yep.
And I want the car back on the road, so that's why I've been working a lot.
Part
lately.
of the story, brother.
It
This
is,
part
it
of the
is.
story that makes that 211 so special.
It'll make me, have more fun with the car once it's back on the road, and I can appreciate it more. So
Well, but you genuinely will too, because
Yeah.
you're building the
I
hell. of this.
will.
It's going to be free flow now too, right?
yes, yeah.
That's
I'm
huge.
gonna full flow the entire oil
full flow,
system. Forged pistons now, lightening the flywheel. So I mean, I'm doing
You're
all the
doing
stuff
everything
that I
you
wanted.
you thought about before, but
Yeah, and now it's like, well, it's out again. Might as well. Now's the time. So, and John Benton's been great about offering advice with stuff.
Oh,
so, yeah, and
love
I'll
John
see him
Benton.
tonight because we're going to his open house. So,
oh, good. The
so I can thank him in
Noctica
person.
cult or whatever?
NICOLAS.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be cool. Yeah.
What
So,
time is that?
I don't know actually. I think it's pretty much all night. It's
Oh,
just
okay.
kind of come and go. He's gonna have a taco truck. So that's.
Love that.
I mean, he had me at tacos. So it's all good. So
You had the whole breakfast club up there, and you're not a breakfast guy, so you didn't even eat.
no, I'm not. I had coffee at HUNZIKER's place before we left this morning, but yeah, I'm not a big breakfast person.
That's okay.
So it's all good.
You got
Yep.
plenty of conversation in.
I did. Yeah. Yeah, I had a blast. It was a really good
So
time.
glad.
So what's going on with you other than that stuff? You flying a lot?
I have been flying a lot. Someone's got to pay for that crankshaft.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Good
Crankshafts
point.
aren't cheap, but yeah. Aside
you're
from
picking
that,
up
I mean, it's
trips.
kind of our busy season now. Like things are picking up with
summertime.
the airlines, and we've got the whole Max 8 drama going on. So we're Southwest
are you
is
affected
down.
by that?
We are. Yeah, we're the biggest operator of Max 8 aircraft in the world. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So right now in our
So does that mean
busiest
your fleet
season,
a lot of your fleet is down?
we're down 34 airplanes right now at Southwest Airlines. Yeah. So I mean, they've
I don't know what that
canceled
means
a lot.
out of like 39 or out of 4,000. You know what I mean?
I think we have like around 750 airplanes.
But they're
in
big-
general.
Still-
So it's a
that's still
pretty
a dent.
sizable
It's a dent.
impact. Yeah. So it's I had a Burbank overnight at one point, and I didn't even bother telling you guys because it got changed. So it's like I hate to get people
That happened the last time,
excited,
too.
and that happened last time too. And that's
It was like
why.
the night before, or even the day of, or something like that. You were going to leave.
Yeah, I
You're
was like,
"Eh, sorry, I'm
not happening
coming."
now. I got to check in, and of course, it's already changed. So you kind of have to go with the flow when stuff like this happens. But it's for safety. So what are you going to do?
How does
You
that
know?
work for you though? Because you have to commute for one, and it's not like commuting like you or I would do. Like you get on a plane and fly to a different city
I
so that
do.
you can go to work.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that work for you? Like, do you ever fly to another city and then they change it and you just gotta fucking like, oh, thanks a lot, and you fly back?
All the time. Well, sometimes they'll cancel an entire trip, and I get paid for the whole trip, and then I don't work.
Oh, is
a
that how it
flight.
works? If it's past a
Sometimes,
certain time?
yeah, or if it's not feasible for me to get to a different city where that trip would start or whatever else.
So they've monopolized your time at that point, so they
Yeah.
have to pay. Well, that's more fair then.
It is.
I mean, I don't
it's
have a
not a
problem with
bad
that.
gig. I mean, I still enjoy it. It's just You know, you just have to roll with the
There's
punches.
a lot of pieces to it that I didn't understand.
There's
You
pieces to it that I don't
educate me all the
understand.
time.
I'm sure I could probably go to our crew scheduling department in Dallas and just be blown away at what they have to do. Just everything that they go through when there's, you know, one delay that turns into this delay and that just is a snowball effect. And think of all the flight crews that get affected. Oh, it's crazy. I couldn't even imagine. So, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces I didn't think of.
Lots. And then when you're, you know, take 34 airplanes out of the equation when, you know, spring and summer travel start, it gets rough. But we're dealing with it. Yeah, we're doing what we can.
All right, so you're in town for LUFTGEKUHLT.
I am.
Like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
How many? Have you been to all of them?
No, I've only
No.
the last year was actually my first one.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so
Did I know
I've
that
been
then and
to
I just
5
forgot?
and then 6. I don't know. I would have
No,
liked to
I'm
have been.
not
I would have liked to have gone the one at the port. That one looked really cool. I didn't go to that one. I think that was the one
That's the only
before.
one I've ever worked. I worked that one. and
Oh,
it
did
was-
you really?
It was.
I didn't know that.
It was big. And it was rainy. It was horribly rainy. I mean, we got there at 5 in the morning.
Made
or
for some
whatever,
great
and it
pictures though,
was-
because there's all those great pictures of cars with like reflections and
and the 356 rainbows
amazing.
and all that.
That was really
that was
cool.
the nice thing about working it because you're there before all the people are, so you can take a picture of anything from anywhere and get a good shot.
And Ray helped us get in early last year, and that's the only reason I was able to get decent pictures at Ganal Lumber, because trying to get a picture at 11 o'clock in the morning, forget about it. Because
Between the
there's
sun and the people.
so many people there. It was
Yeah.
crazy. So I am actually excited. I did hear that they've kind of scaled back the production this year.
Is that true?
It is, yeah, I think they're going to have about half of the cars that they had last year.
Honestly, that
Yeah.
makes it more.
Oh, I'm so excited
Yeah.
because I felt like there was a lot of stuff I didn't even get to see last year just because it was so big. And by the time I'd seen probably 3/4 of it, I was so wiped out that I was
Exhausted.
just like, I can't.
We did the whole LUFTGEKUHLT hangover show last year. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It's going to happen again.
It will.
Do it again.
It will. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
It is funny that's like a stone's throw from your place, though. That's cool. I mean, you can literally
So lucky
see it
this
from.
year.
Yeah,
You
it's
go out
kinda
to the
cool.
pool. Past the beautiful downtown Burbank. When you go out to the pool, you look up at Hogwarts.
Literally.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's cool.
I love
So that'll be fun.
So what are you looking forward to this year from LUFTGEKUHLT?
Honestly,
What have you heard? I mean,
I've-
it's all speculation because none of us have been over there yet.
Right. Car-wise, I'm not expecting anything. Really, the reason I come out is to hang out with you guys and catch up with friends, and you know, it's kind of like my family away from Pittsburgh. It's nice. So, just hanging out with you guys this morning,
my
and you
favorite.
know, I'm staying with NICOLAS HUNZIKER and palling around with him and seeing his studio. That's been great. So more than any car, I was looking forward to this.
I wanted
honestly.
to ask you about that, but I figure we'll do that when he comes in.
Sure.
'Cause-
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. Creative bunch here.
Yes. Yeah.
Like you always say, it takes a village, and I feel like
We're the village.
Well, yeah, but I feel like people are moving to our town all of a sudden.
They are.
You know
They
what I mean?
are.
Which is kind of
Yeah.
nice.
It is nice. It's cool. So.
Did you, when you were at Breakfast Club today,
Mm-hmm.
was your expectation or the actual event? I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I was a little bit overwhelmed by how many. Fan is not the right word, but how many people were aware of us and how many people do watch the show and stuff like that. I
Absolutely.
was blown away.
Yeah.
Because you watch this is why I don't know the numbers and I don't understand it.
I
and
don't
it
really
drives
keep
me
track of
nuts.
the views. I go off of what people tell me.
Right.
I like real time feedback. I'm not a numbers guy.
So did you experience the same thing I did today? Because I think what it was a
I
lot of
did.
out of towners.
I did.
So I think a lot of people came. You know what I mean? It wasn't just the usual crew, although a lot of them were
Right.
there as well.
Right.
I don't know. It was just it surprised me, and I didn't anticipate it.
I was the same way. And a lot of people, it's so funny because now that people kind of equate me to the booking guy for the car shows and stuff, you know, on this
Yeah.
specific show, now my inbox now is starting to fill up with cold calls and hey, it's neat. It's neat that we're
That's
in
cool
this
because ours
place
is
now.
slowing down. Now they're going to you.
Yeah, I'm stealing all your DMs, I guess.
great.
But it's pretty fantastic. I like it. It's nice knowing that people are recognizing the work that you guys are putting into this and wanting to be a part of it now. And I think that's really cool.
Well,
and
again, the village.
it is the village, and also, you know, like the P-Car Talk guys were there today from Florida. Great guys.
Delightful.
Unbelievable guys.
So great
We
to meet
spent-
them.
It wasn't that I didn't expect that, but I really was overwhelmed by how warm and ingratiating they both were.
And let me tell you, like, the thing that really stands out in my mind after talking to them today is, like,
I even put their sticker in this. Look at that. I already put it in this.
that's
in the
awesome.
studio.
That's really cool.
Sorry, go ahead.
And what's cool about that is, you know, same with Drew and 911 Cooled. Like, we're all kind of in this same sandbox playing. But instead of wanting to differentiate ourselves from everyone else just wants to build all of us up. It's so great. It's like there's
We're in the perpetual motion machine.
We are, and there's so much need and drive for the things that we do and the circle that we run in, that everybody is just wanting to play together. And that's so nice, because it's not this tribalist sort of school of thought that's like, oh, well, if I do your show, then that might turn people off of mine, or vice versa. And no, it's everyone just wants to promote everyone else, and it's so great to see.
Versus the old school talk show booking wars.
Exactly.
Like, if you're going to go on Carson, then you can't do Arsenio.
Oh,
or
it's
vice versa,
not that at
whatever it
all.
was.
It's, hey, you guys, you should come do PCAR Talk, and I would love to come on your show, because it's such a this is such a different thing that nobody else is doing, and
That's
I
what we
think
said
people are seeing that now.
Oh, that's.
And it's
If
really
people
neat.
like it, then that's great.
It's I know they like it, because I hear about it all the time, and it's neat to be a part of that, because people are finally recognizing that what you have built up here is really special. And it's neat coming back here a year after the fact, when we did our last LUFTGEKUHLT open house, and just seeing how far the show has come, how much tighter it is and streamlined, and it's just it's just a really cool thing to be a part of.
I don't know what to say, but
Thank
thank you.
you.
That's very kind.
Yeah.
Very kind. And I hope so. I hope we are making traction, because we both want to do this for a long time. And this is not, we both have such grand ideas for where this can go,
Absolutely.
Like you do know.
I do know. I do. We talk about it every day. So it's great.
It's neat to start seeing, I don't know, things happen or things fall into place. Because, I'm not a planner so much. My life has never been that way. It doesn't work that way.
See, I always was, and
me.
you've kind of taught me to not be, and to just let the universe kind of, there's been a lot of instances where maybe something hasn't worked out the way that we originally planned, but for whatever reason, it ends up working out better by just letting the universe figure it out, You
mean like with guests sometimes, and bookings,
yeah,
and even your trips sometimes?
Yeah, it's just weird. So I just feel like everything's moving in the direction it's supposed to be, and for whatever reason, these people are gravitating towards us that are like-minded, and it's a really cool time to be involved with this.
Also, I think agreed. I think the good vibes thing, it's infectious. It's infectious. It's hard to not be around it once you've experienced it. Like, people who are real and genuine and want good for other people, and it's not just me. We're not really living in that world right now, so it's kind of rare.
It is.
And I think once people realize that it's not an act, and it's not phony, and it's not trying to get one over or whatever.
And you can get shit done with that attitude, and I think people are
can.
starting to see that. I mean, just like the stuff that goes on, even it's weird, because I felt like the Breakfast Club is kind of like a lot of business deals are closed on a golf course. And I feel like that's kind of
nice
like
analogy.
your golf course is up there, because it's creatives, and you guys kind of all are like-minded, and you get up there and you're just in this casual setting, and you're around these cars, and then gears start to turn, and it's like, hey, you should do this, or hey,
There's
I'm
a lot
doing
of collaborative conversation.
There is, and it's great.
Versus networking,
but it doesn't feel so forced. It's nice. It's like it just kind of happens naturally up there, because everyone's just sort of in their own space. It's so cool to see that. It's
weird. It is a little artist.
Oh, it
is.
is.
And
It
most of the
is.
musicians and all the guys didn't even come today.
No.
Bussy and all those guys, and Tommy and everything.
Yeah, it's
Gosh,
cool.
It's so funny.
Yeah, it's neat. So that was really cool to see all that. But I'm just excited to see where all of this is going. So
Where do you think it's going? Let's talk about that.
I don't know.
Really?
I mean, the sky's the limit, really.
Well, what do you think?
Look at
What
the
do you
guests
think we
we've
should
had
do?
in the last 2 months.
It's amazing, right?
Look at the people that are on board and involved now.
And we're
Who
getting
would have
people
thought?
who are actually offering real sponsorships, and we're being like, no, hang on, just wait, because we haven't figured out our structuring yet. We need to get on that.
Yeah, or we're 2 months out on bookings now. Sorry, we can't get you in the week of Luft now.
Right.
It's funny.
Yeah. It's really cool.
It's a neat thing.
And
Just
it
to
feels good,
see,
doesn't it?
It does feel good, because
We didn't know we could do this.
It is work, and been putting the work in, and now a year later, we're starting to see these results, and it's pretty great.
That's a good point, too. It's like you put the well. It's got to fill up.
It's
Wow.
neat. Yeah, it's neat to be a part of it. So
Well, what the heck are we going to talk to Nicolas and Ray about?
I don't know. Well, I'm sure Ray can tell us what's going on with the Porsche Classic dealings at LUFTGEKUHLT and stuff he's had going on, and
Is there anything specifically you want to know
touch on his
about either Ray
video
or Nicolas Hunziker?
I feel like I know everything about them already because we talk
know,
all
you're so
day,
tight.
every day.
That's all right. That was a freebie. Here, I'd like to ask you about the free Wi-Fi on Delta. What do you think about that from Mrs. Ryan? Did you hear that from the news this morning?
No, I didn't hear it.
Oh,
No.
Mrs. Ryan was doing a news thing with Delta. Go ahead.
Delta's
sorry.
offering free Wi-Fi. They're testing out what people are using,
Oh, really?
and they're trying to make their service better.
That's awesome. We need to make ours better because ours works maybe half the time.
Well, so do your plans.
Yeah.
That was, by the way, I do not want to get sued by Southwest. That was a joke based on these the Max 8 things.
Well, that's Boeing's bad. It's not Southwest.
Exactly,
you
but I
know?
don't want it because I
No,
just made
we're
that sound
good.
and
We're
it's
good.
not fair. Not fair.
You're so blackballed on Southwest now.
No, I don't want that. I want to
No,
fly
no.
on my buddy's buddy pass someday.
Well, you know, Delta, they supposedly were the ones that had the cameras, I think, in
Yeah.
their seat back pockets, and
Yeah, I
now they're
heard that
taping those over.
Everyone's got their own issue right now, so everyone's figuring it
Yeah,
out.
not that I'm putting the dirty end of the stick or anything.
Yeah, right.
Certainly have
Well,
no
but-
point to do that, but yeah, the airline thing's weird. It's but it's cool, you know.
Is there anything else you want to cover before we bring in? Who are we bringing in next? Is it Nicholas? We're gonna do Nicholas next, right?
Sure, yeah, bring in Nicholas.
Anything you want to cover? Anything I skipped?
No.
This is all just kind
If
of.
anyone wants to
very
donate
just go for the
356
flow.
parts, go right for it.
There you
because
go.
I'm dying. No.
Contact
I've
Vito
got
for life.
just about everything I need for it. I'm so paranoid about new parts now because new parts are just not made the same way that I've actually gone on eBay and scoured for NOS German
vintage stuff.
main bearings and stuff. Yeah. So I'm like going that whole way. So
I don't know if anybody. I'm
it's
not
all
there's
good.
a
Yeah,
bug
yeah,
in here.
yeah,
You see
it's
that
all
one
good.
little
I
bug
did,
flying around?
I did. Yeah.
All right. Well, then let's take a quick little break again, and we'll be very brief about it.
do
And switch some seats. Get somebody else in here, Nicholas Hunziker.
Yeah.
That's
Cool.
good. More to come after this. Nicholas Hunziker will be in that chair. Tori will be in that chair. This whole thing is an experiment, but I'm enjoying it already.
Here we go.
It's like
Gonna
an
do
old
it.
school, like a panel, like everybody
It
moves
is.
down.
Ed McMahon, get up.
Yeah.
Move down.
All right, more to come right after this.
And we're back.
There you go.
Like what?
All right, we got a full boat. All right, Nicholas Hunziker, how you doing?
Hello.
I feel like I didn't. You were kind of a phantom's not the right word, but you were just kind of this mysterious guy that everyone always knew about and heard about, and you had open houses and stuff, but you didn't really talk much. And then I feel like I got to know you, and now I feel like I see you all the time. You've come to Breakfast Club 4 times in a row, and
Right.
we're working together on the show with different things, and our buddy over here. I couldn't be more excited about it, but I feel like you're my newest new friend. Would that be fair?
Okay.
Ah!
Oh,
That's all
rejected.
right. No worries.
No, I mean, I think it's been nice.
Do
you know?
you make friends easily?
No, I don't. Which is
I can't imagine why.
You've just, that is probably why I don't.
But is that because you're an artist or because you're successful? What is the reason?
No,
for
I just
that?
don't have time, I guess. And you know what? I think making friends, or specifically maintaining friendships, I think that is an
It's hard.
well,
it's work.
it's an art form in a way, and I think it's a task that has to be learned. And perhaps I didn't have the best role models in terms, like let's say, if, you grew up with and maybe your parents have a lot of friends.
Like you're
Then-
socialized.
Yeah, so you learn. Oh, I you're supposed to call them, and you go to their house, and they come to your house. That kind of stuff.
God, you're killing me because I
And-
think you're right, and I don't know how to.
And
do
so,
that
and
stuff either.
maybe, and I was, maybe more primarily concerned about filling my own time, and so, I mean, I joked to him yesterday. I literally built the box for myself.
You
I'm in
literally-
the studio.
Like
You've
the
been there,
studio.
right?
Yeah.
It's just a big box, and there's cars in there, and I paint all day. So.
Yeah.
It's like his happy place where he doesn't have to interact with
Right.
people. Totally. I mean, here's
Right,
box
Right, yeah,
too.
no, you
exactly.
built yourself a
Man
box.
caves
it
look
is.
different if you're not a dude that
Right.
they tried to sell shit to. It's
Yeah.
great.
No, I agree. Yeah.
It's pretty wild. Well, what's going on with you? What projects are you working on? Can we talk about the car stuff at all?
Sure, we can talk. The cars.
Because I've been down to your place now. And this is kind of what I was talking about. I used to sort of not really know much about you. You were sort of mysterious. And now I feel like, I've gotten to know you. And then there's all this stuff. I don't know what we're allowed to talk about.
Right.
You've got a million things going on at all times. Hence the busyness, I guess.
Right, right.
But visiting your shop recently, and your studio more specifically, you had some very cool cars that you're building in there. And if possible, I'd love to talk about them.
Yeah, I mean, those are the cars that I think Mike alluded to.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mike Brewer.
Mike Brewer, sorry.
All right. So again, you introduced me to Mike Brewer. Like this whole thing, it's been
Right.
kind of
It's
interesting
it's a small world,
It
you know.
is. It really is. Mm-hmm.
And so Mike and I, he's. I mean, obviously, he's got a. He's the wheeler dealer, literally, right?
Yep.
But no, he
But he's got
doesn't.
Mike-
He doesn't just play one on TV. He actually is a wheeler dealer.
Yeah.
So.
He's got his own car dealerships, right? Or
Well, in the UK, yes, he does. It's quite big, actually. I think they have like 3 locations now. Employ,
Really?
hundreds of people. They sell
Yeah, Mike
thousands
Brewer
of cars.
Motors. It's literally
big,
called
yeah.
Mike
Yeah,
Brewer
no, I
Motors.
mean, and it's a good thing. It's got a good brand name, and you do get a good used car. So I think they don't really have CarMax like we have here in the UK or in the US. So what they're kind of giving people is you kind of get a new car experience with a used car. So you have because most of the times used cars in Europe are kind of sold on, I mean,
As
a
is.
dealer, yeah,
Yeah.
or it's just like a little lot and the guy has like 10 cars or
But no
something.
warranty,
yeah.
nothing like
no,
that.
No. It's more like,
Here's
this-
what you want. Here's
Yeah,
what
it's
you're
like-
Get
getting.
cash, never see it again.
yeah, and the sawdust in the gearbox, that
Right.
kind of stuff. And so Mike and Michelle, I think they really elevated this to kind of bring this to the next level where you go, no, not everybody can afford a new car, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't get,
Wow.
like a new
The
car
experience.
treatment.
Great
Yeah,
experience.
yeah. So
Mhm.
it's a proper
That's so
dealership.
cool of
yeah.
them.
No, I
Beautiful.
think,
Neat.
and I think it aligns with his brand image and who he is. So anyway, so Mike and I, as I said, he's a wheeler dealer in real life. So we're building up a 69T, sports purposes, a little bit like the 68T.
Is that going to stay the same color that I saw? Sorry, forgive this. Our neighbors are moving, so forgive that.
Oh,
I don't
wow.
think the microphones will pick it up, but for the rest of us in here, it has gotten nuts. Yesterday was crazy. So is that the red one?
Yes, the
Okay.
69T. So
Will that
right
stay?
now, will it say red?
Well, I don't know what you're
I
doing to it. I
think.
guess maybe that's.
Oh,
the
okay.
question.
Well, it's basically a quote unquote restored 69T that we bought in Texas. We found it in Texas,
Okay.
and it's at the shop now. I'm starting to take it apart.
It's a
Not
pretty car.
It's a nice car, and and it's going to be what, kind of like the R Group ethos, which was you kind of have this Bible with the sports purposes manual.
Right.
So
Less is more.
Less is more. Take out some of the weight. Just tried and true modifications.
Right.
A little bit more power. You get the suspension right. We got some partners on the car with Pirelli. They're giving us tires.
Oh, great.
That kind of stuff.
That's great. Is that
um,
because you guys are the ones doing it? Is that kind of the deal? Because Mike's really good at that.
Yeah, I think. And I think we both know some people who know some people, so that
Fair
usually
enough.
helps.
Do you know anyone at Scat Crankshafts?
Or AA, I guess. Either way.
Yeah, exactly.
But what about the other one, more specifically?
The other one, yes. So
That one really got
Mike
my
and
attention
I
because it's
found
so good.
Yeah.
at the LA Lit Show, they have the swap meet on Sunday.
The day after.
Day
Yeah.
after
the day
Sunday,
after, yeah.
right?
Phoenix Club, I think.
Phoenix Club, yeah.
Yep.
So we walked down there, and I saw a Beck Spider, and I've had a Beck Spider in the past. Tori has one too.
Yeah, that's right.
And I saw one, and I walked by it, but then I just did a double take, and I thought I saw a torsion bar hole, because the the
that a
Becks.
real one would have.
Yeah,
Correct.
And the Beck
yeah,
doesn't
the
have
Becks
one.
don't. The fiberglass ones
Right,
do not have that.
And then the
Right.
front didn't have the fake air intakes on the back for the brake duct.
Right. Normally they have like a louvered basically
Yeah.
plate that's bolted on.
Oh, those are fake normally?
Yeah.
They're not functional. Some people
Not
will
only
fiberglass
that-
in a cooler,
Right.
but
Got it.
not
And then
many people
also
go
for
that
the
route.
below the headlight, the
The horns,
no,
and then the jack mounts.
no, but below the headlight,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have the air intake for the
Mhm.
brakes
Mm-hmm.
on which is also fake on the back.
Oh, right.
And this one doesn't have them at all because they're not functional. So anyway, so I just walked by this car and I just did a double
Caught your eye
take.
because of those.
Yeah, and I walked over and I looked at it and I saw aluminum work everywhere. I mean, aluminum tank, inside, firewall, and then I started looking at it and I realized it's structural aluminum. It's because most, I want to say 99% of aluminum that you see on these on non-real cars, it's usually people who are covering up fiberglass.
Yeah,
It's
they
a-
basically just rivet sheet aluminum
You know, it's a
to
cladding.
fiberglass.
It's really
Really?
well
yeah, it's
done.
just cosmetic.
It's nice, but
Wow.
it's
Mhm.
not
It's
actually.
not purposed. It's
No,
just
right.
And it's
cosmetic.
certainly
Okay.
not
It's
structural
like-
because it's still fiberglass.
It's like aluminum sheeting on a house, right?
It's right.
Mm. They're
That's
just
what
doing
I
it for the
thought.
look.
Right.
Mm.
And they
then
do
they
it
add
for the look,
rivets.
and it looks nice, you know. And
Mhm.
some people put like file marks in it, so it looks like the real thing and all that stuff. But you're actually making the car heavier because you're just throwing.
You're adding a
aluminum-
second
yeah,
shell
yeah,
on it.
basically,
Yeah.
yes. So I saw this car, and it was structurally, it was aircraft bonded aluminum and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, wow, this looks really good. And the tank, I looked at it, and it looked like a real Spider tank. And so I got to talking with this guy, and as it turns out, it is real aluminum work, all of it.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
I've seen it. It's legit.
Yeah, it's incredible.
But
Yeah.
I don't understand how that car comes to be. Somebody just built it.
Well,
it's not like a
it's
known.
no, the long story is.
Oh,
All right.
Not us. Must
They'll
be
let
Ray
you
Shaver.
know where they're going.
Oh, it's Ray Shaver. He goes, sorry.
So the long story is that there's a gentleman in Canada who has been making parts for real spiders, lot for restoration parts. So he would make the badges, you know, those little belt buckles.
Oh,
to-
for
to
the
hook
straps.
straps.
Yeah, to close
For
the
the
hoods and
straps.
stuff. Yeah.
Oil cooler intakes, just parts, you know, and he would have them made by various people. And he was kind of like the go-to guy to make all these aluminum parts. And over the years, I mean, I've known this guy for 20 years. I've never met him, but I've always knew of him as a source for these reproduction parts and replacement parts. And there was always this rumor that he was building the ultimate aluminum car for 20 years. No one had ever
Some
seen a
unicorn
picture
nobody
of it.
knew.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Right.
Almost like legendary status.
Right. And
yeah,
so-
like the Canyon Carver from the Mulholland.
kind of,
Exactly,
yeah, and it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
it exists, but you know,
But no one's
supposedly-
seen it.
No,
Right.
supposedly he's working on it, and then
Mm.
all of a sudden it dawned on me, and he says, "Oh my God, you're so and so," you know, on the forum.
Oh, he
I know.
recognized you.
Yeah, we both did, and it's like, oh, we used to talk to each other 20 years ago, and no one really believed that this car was real,
Right.
because it's like, I'm sure he's
It's my
working on his
Canadian
car.
girlfriend. Oh,
yeah,
you don't know
yeah,
her.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? Beautiful. She's a model.
Yeah.
So we saw the car, and then Mike came over, and he started looking at it, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, it had all this custom work. So
Wait, is this just this year after this
Yeah,
lit show?
this at the
oh, I
lit
didn't
show.
realize.
Yeah,
it was so
literally
new.
just a
Yeah.
few months
Oh,
ago.
a few months.
Okay.
So I, you know, Mike just pulled up later, and I say, Mike, you have to come over and look at this car. This is insane. Someone just went crazy, because there's about, I don't know, maybe 100 grand, 150 grand worth of aluminum.
Metal
work. I mean,
work,
you're
right,
just
yeah.
paying somebody by the hour to, you know.
And
Really?
it's not
So, like-
something that
Crazy.
like just anybody can do. I mean, that's
No.
a craft that, and you'll find out who was
So-
helping build as well.
Oh.
Yeah, so I took him over and says, look, the shroud is handmade, one-off shroud. They sand cast pieces for the stand for the
The generator stand,
generator
and the
stand. There's
valve
the-
covers,
valve
and
covers. Oh, everything's
Crazy
one-off.
stuff.
Yeah, nothing you would ever do yourself to make one
It doesn't
car.
make sense.
No, it doesn't make
Yeah,
any sense.
It's not
whatsoever.
cost effective.
No.
It's
No.
too much. Yeah.
And Mike's looking at it, and then we're just looking at each other, and he goes like,
Oh boy.
I think-
the wheels are turning.
Yeah.
The wheels and deals are turning.
Yeah.
So Mike's like, we have to get this car. We have to get this car. So we're talking to the gentleman who's selling it, and I don't know if he really wanted to sell the car at the time, because he brought it down with his trailer, and he was picking up. He bought Billy Doyle's 4-cam
the dyno.
dyno. And if you don't know who Billy Doyle is another.
Builder.
He was the 4-cam guru.
Oh,
So
okay.
for the 4-cam engines, if you had the 4-cam, you would send it to Billy Doyle, and he would restore
He's
it.
the guy.
He's the guy.
He was
Got
the
it.
guy. And he passed away, sadly. And he's been selling his tools. And the last bit was this engine dyno that this guy bought. And so he had the trailer here, and so we got to talking. And in the end, we reached a deal where he got, where I had to paint this gentleman who was selling the car. He has found an Oscar suspended in a barn. It's an MT100.
I don't know what that is.
An Oscar is an Italian car.
Okay.
Oscar, you might know them from the Maserati brothers. They used to be Oscar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Maserati became Oscar. Right.
So the deal was, part of the deal is I have to paint this gentleman's Oscar because it won, I think it came third in class at Pebble Beach last year, because he's since restored this car, the Oscar that he found. So
Okay.
so part of the deal is
Restored it and races it.
no, it's not a race car.
Oh, Pebble at the Concours.
Yes.
Gotcha.
He did the Mille Miglia in it.
Oh.
In Italy, yeah, it's a
So he does
proper
race
car.
it.
Well, the Mille Miglia is a bit like
It's almost like a rally more
it's
than
more
a
of a
race.
rally. It's not
Parade
a
rally.
race. Yeah.
And you're gonna paint it like fine art, paint it, not like you want yellow.
No. We're gonna. Oh, sorry. I have to do a painting of his Oscar. So he would sell us.
like a
Nicolas
commission-
Hunziker
Yeah,
fine
yes,
artist
yes, sorry.
painting. Okay.
Yes, I would have to. In the end, because he's
That's
building
funny,
it.
without doing the spray paint,
No.
tagging it.
So he's now building his house, and so for his new house, he's getting a painting of his car.
Some of your work,
Yes. So we got the car, and so it's since I
It
have
must be nice to have such a gee whiz. I hope so. Everyone's all right. Somebody fell off a ladder. I think it must be nice to have such a tradable skill set.
Yeah.
I guess yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, I mean, there's a lot. If I could paint people paintings to hang in their house that were very valuable, I would have a lot more
and
stuff here at ours.
You could even tell them about the art car project, because that's essentially what it's
right,
gonna
That's
try
on
to
here
do.
too.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a
So,
good little segue there.
So we brought the car back to my shop. We looked at it, and every time we looked at it, I mean, Tory came over. He's had these cars before, and he just
Yeah.
couldn't believe
Wow,
it.
it's insane.
And as it turns out, the gentleman who did the aluminum, who was contracted to do the aluminum work, works for Joe. Can I say that?
Yeah,
He works for Joe Cavalieri, who happens to be the gentleman who restores the real 550 Spiders. So he's done
Oh
You
my
essentially,
Yeah.
I mean,
the
this is
550 001 that's in the museum, 002, 003, who belongs to
Seinfeld's,
your.
yeah.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
and keep in mind, restoration is not just like, oh, beat the dents out of
Yeah,
it. Like,
no, no,
this
no.
part
This
I can't
is-
repair. I'll make a new one from
Yes.
scratch.
Yeah.
Well,
and
because
put it on a
aluminum
real
you
Porsche
can't
Spider.
buff, right? Like,
There's
I
ways
mean-
to work with it, but it's not easy.
It's
And
not
if
easy.
it's already
Yeah, I
too
mean,
thin-
the tricky part with aluminum, as I understand it, is that it gets brittle with age.
okay, yeah.
And so even though you could hammer it back or bend it back, at some point it's just going to break.
It's
Over
gonna
time,
start
it'll start cracking.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and that's the problem that happens with aircraft too. It's the same
Right.
thing because it's aluminum.
It just
It
times
Bleacher
out.
just
seats
gets
at a
brittle
ball game,
and-
everything. It just
Oh.
happens over
Exactly.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just times out. So now we found out that it's basically, that they used real templates from a 550 Spider to make tanks and, I mean, structural work, all the insides.
Yeah, it's
So-
insane.
When I sat there, I said, well, first of all, I thought it was a real one.
Yeah, that's the funny thing is
because
it
all of
isn't.
the
It
thing-
isn't.
It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
together. You
No,
know what I mean?
no,
So
no.
you can really see into
Right,
it.
right.
Well, it's got stuff that no Beck has because it's got like the front deco bumper strip,
Yeah.
that the early Spiders had. It's like, geez, like who puts this on a Beck? It's unreal the
Yeah.
workmanship that went
You
into
know,
that.
the
But
entire
the scale
firewall.
the scale is what I noticed too. It's
Yeah.
not the replica scale that I know.
Everything just
sometimes
looks
that's a
right
tell.
right now. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
And
Well said.
I had Joey at my shop, and he looks at it and he goes like, "Well,
Right.
this could be
That's-
real,"
That's what we all did. That's what we all did.
So it isn't. It isn't. It's not a $3.5 million car, but So Mike and I are going to put it back on the road.
Are you gonna keep it, or is this a wheelie deal? Like,
I don't know. I mean, it's
does it depend on how it
Mike,
comes out? I guess.
and also, it's Mike he's the wheeler dealer, so he's also the bank.
Yep. 100%.
So we'll see, but it's an exciting car just to finish it,
Yeah.
because especially since I never even knew this car really existed, but it was real.
I think it's really cool that you're doing it. That you're
So-
doing
Oh.
it. You're the
Yeah.
You're
one.
doing
I
it.
do. I think it's very cool.
And I love that you're making a mural. It's
Mural?
for posterity. You're painting something.
Oh,
on
okay,
it.
yeah, no, it'll painting will come out of it
It's
too. Yeah.
just gonna cement the moment. You're
Right.
awesome.
Yeah. No.
Yes.
So I think it's going to be a fun car when it's done for sure.
Well, you brought up the art car. May as well talk about it since you had a ride in it today.
Yeah, the car's
Yeah.
amazing.
That GT3 is going to be
Right.
the Hunziker art car project. Can
Yes.
you talk about that?
Okay, so this started, initially I wanted to do it for my 10-year of painting professionally.
Which is when?
2017-ish,
Okay.
abouts. And so 2 years ago I started the idea. And at the time the idea was to build to build my dream 911 all in trade for my artwork. So I would trade 2 paintings for a donor car. And then if I needed wheels, I would get the wheels for a painting. And if I needed tires, I get the wheels. You paint something, you get the tires, the transmission, the bodywork, and so and so.
Adds up.
And so it starts adding up. And obviously, it came about for various reasons. Some of them are, it's a bit strange sometimes to talk about it, just because, from my point of view, art always comes from a good place.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a little bit of spite involved. Just
Well, I
because
appreciate your honesty. Let's hear it.
just because over the years my artwork has been stolen a lot.
What do you not physically stolen?
No.
People take your work
Like
and
copywritten
like your
stolen.
shirt, basically.
Yes,
Did they make
intellectual
your shirt?
property to the point where you can go. There have been cell phone covers I've never made. Entire collections have been ripped off. We found,
Wow.
Well,
It-
just to save the manual shirts alone, everyone
to
jumped
save
on
the
that
Gotcha,
bandwagon.
gotcha.
That's yours?
Yeah.
I
well,
didn't-
we start. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Right.
We found magazines in Australia who used my artwork on the cover.
Well, that's ballsy.
Yeah, without even asking,
without a
like
phone
not
call.
even
Yeah,
so
that's
much
crazy.
as
you know,
email. Like
I know you're
and-
not complaining, but
Well, no, I'm just saying what it is. And there's cell phone covers coming out of Singapore. You can buy fake posters on Amazon.
do you have a
can
link for
buy
any of that
fake.
stuff?
Yeah, there's
Make sure I
tons
jot
of.
that down.
There's
through your wallet.
there's tons.
cheaper, right?
There's fake T-shirts on eBay. There's fake posters, fake hoodies, fake jackets. Fake cell phone covers. Everything, right?
Mm.
So, and I kind of understand the thinking behind it, because you're kind of living in this internet world where everything's free. You
Instant
download
free.
a movie. What's the
Yeah.
big deal?
Right.
So, but for some reason, I think for most people would agree it's okay to take something on the internet, put it on a shirt. Big deal, right? So that's okay. However, nobody would say it's okay for you to go somewhere and steal someone's car. Right? Nobody would say it's okay to steal a car.
Agreed.
So I thought, okay, my equation's going to be artwork equals car. No one's going to steal that one. This is
Well,
not
they're
a
gonna
challenge for people
gonna
to go,
steal-
come steal
Yeah.
my car
come
now.
steal my GT3.
But if you paint your car, they're going to take that.
Maybe. But so in
or
my
they'll put it on a shirt and then
That's
sell shirts
right.
from
Nobody
Mexico.
would really do that.
So in my mind, it was, I just wanted to kind of, for myself, it's a statement of how far I've come. Because in the beginning, you have an idea, you tell someone, and they go like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
They
And
don't see it.
especially
They don't see
not,
your vision.
yeah, and especially, so to my mind, I have a build in mind, and the donor happens to be a GT3 996.
Yep.
So my first trade was 2 paintings for a 996 GT3, and
Good deal.
yeah,
I know, right?
Good-
Well,
it's one of the
Makes
best
me wish
Porsches-
I'd paid more
one of the
attention in
best
art
driving
class.
Porsches out there.
it is a good deal. But then who is it a good deal for? Is it a good deal for the
No,
guy
both.
who?
No,
who
I meant
gets,
both. I meant, like,
either way,
I
right?
consider a good deal.
That is a
Synergistic.
Right.
That is a
are- yeah,
win-win, my
absolutely.
Right.
It's called
So-
Both
synergy.
parties walk away
Producer
happy.
Tory.
That's a win.
Right.
Synergy.
Good synergy.
So since then, little by little, we've I've done one trade after the other. So we've done, an entire gearbox rebuild, which turned into like Tory's going through with the end.
Yeah.
It turns into another thing. So
Yep.
It really does add up quick,
Your
because once you're
face.
in there, there's like 6
Right.
other things.
Yeah,
you
We've
can
all
do.
been there. It's
Right.
like, dude, you're
So,
in here. You might as well do this.
what started out as a ring and pinion swap turned into new bearings, new flywheel,
Ugh. Now that
new-
car has no IMS because it's a Metzger, right?
correct.
Okay.
So we don't have
that's
to
not a
deal
problem.
about that.
Rear main seal though is right.
Yeah, but it's just a regular main seal. I mean,
Okay,
that's
then
just
he
a
did that,
rubber.
so
and
we're good.
Oh, and you did it.
Yeah,
Okay.
we did it as well. So
We're good.
yeah,
Covered.
There we go.
we fixed the case. I mean, everything's been done, and now it's got a basically a brand new gearbox.
Well, and it's working well.
It's working well.
We've-
Yes,
we've seen the results.
Right. It has I have a cup suspension for it if I want to. I have iBox springs, H&R springs. I have Giro disc rotors and brakes, Paget pads.
Oh, wow.
It's got about 400 horsepower. It's got a this is if you're geeking out on these things. It's got
we do. I mean,
it's got
sure.
FVD, cross pipe, fap speed, cross pipe with catbacks. I mean, it's got about
But your
400
car's
horsepower.
Not super loud. How do you do
Not
all
yet.
that?
No, it still has a muffler on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it sounds great tonally and everything, but it's not.
I think
not
right-
obnoxious.
It's not obnoxious.
No,
No.
you
No
don't even know.
drone.
Yeah, nothing.
No,
It's
no,
a
no.
very comfortable car to drive in. It's
Right
amazing.
now, it's all engine and gearbox. It's not an exhaust noise. Because in some cars, it's just the exhaust,
That's
right?
all
Yeah,
you
that's
hear.
all you hear.
Yeah, we know. I hear it
So
a lot.
right now, it's kind of like an old school. No, you're listening to the engine and the gearbox. That's
Love
what
it.
you're listening
Yeah,
to.
Yeah,
mechanical.
That's all
But-
you want to hear.
But
Exactly.
it's
great.
going to get louder, obviously, because we have to breathe. We have
Ah. Well, so what's the goal with this car once it's done? It's obviously going to be a signature
Yeah,
thing
I
for
think-
you. But
I-
are you
I
gonna
don't know.
drive it, race it?
to breathe. No,
Is it
it's not a
display
race car.
tour
No,
around?
it's gonna be driven. It's like White Mouse. I mean, I think.
Oh, so we'll still be driving it to Breakfast Club and stuff.
Yeah, sure. It's just going to look
Okay.
different by the time it's done.
Great.
Because it involves a backdate as well. So I'm backdating it. What?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm turning it from a 2004 996 GTR. I'm turning it into a 1999 GT3R.
Oh, I see your point. So it's still going to be a 996. You're not going
Yes.
nuts.
No. It's. I mean, this
Okay.
is now
It'll
we're
just
like
be a
we're
Gen
like
1 996
yes.
different model. Got
We're
it.
kind of splitting the loser fandom geek thingy. We're splitting hairs now. It's like
Is this a car that didn't really exist?
Porsche never made a GT3R street car. They made the GT3R was a race car and came out in 1999. At the time, it first ran in Le Mans in '99 as a narrow body car. Little tidbit, interesting factoid is that at the time the regulations were called GT3, which is why Porsche named their car GT3. And afterwards, Le Mans changed the regulations, and they called it GT category.
Oh my.
So technically, had they been right from the beginning, maybe we would have had a 911 GT and then a GTRS as
Right.
opposed to a GT3.
Mm-hmm.
And
Interesting.
who knows?
So that's
right?
inconsequential for the Porsches?
Um,
It doesn't mean anything?
well, no, there's a category. GT means Grand Touring, right?
Okay.
And so at the time, you had Le Mans, you had GT1, GT2, and GT3 cars.
Oh, okay.
So in their minds, they called this new category GT3, which is production-based racing cars.
Okay.
And then above that, you would have prototype-based racing cars, where there's only one or two. And production obviously means it's based on a production car.
Oh.
And then you turn it into a race car. So for the fans, the argument is for the fans, you have a tighter connection to what you're looking at because it's the type of car you can buy in a showroom.
Mhm.
Oh.
But
Right.
it's still named
Gotcha.
after a series in the.
Yeah. So
A class
anyway,
of the-
yeah. So
Gotcha.
GT3,
series.
right?
Mhm.
So Porsche made the GT3, as we all know, and then later on they came out with the GT3 RS, and the race car at the beginning was called the GT3R, and that car didn't get a street car version.
Right. Now, I always thought that was against the rules. Didn't you have to make a few of them or something? Or was
Right,
that
like
different?
the homologation.
Well,
stuff, right?
That's what I thought.
technically the homologations are the regular GT3s.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
I
okay,
see.
that
Just,
makes sense.
Right. Gotcha.
Yes.
It's the same
And
car. Just
yes,
no
and then
badge.
Porsche just called it the R when they went racing, and then later on they would have the RS, and then the RSR, just like they did in the
The old days,
70s.
sure.
Yes.
Right. That makes sense.
So now I'm turning a 2004 GT3 into a 1999 GT3R.
Pretty cool.
Strassen version.
Strassen
Yeah.
version, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
And what is it going to look like, or will that be a surprise?
No, I mean there's a whole little website around it that we have.
Okay, I've seen the link on your
yeah,
Instagram.
it's
I think.
HUNZIKERArtCar.com.
There we go.
And I mentioned the link last time I was here. I didn't give any website
I know Heather was
links.
like,
I know, it's
way
like-
to promote yourself.
I know,
It's
you-
like, did
you
you see
talked-
what I'm wearing?
you spoke for an hour. It would have been nice if you had mentioned the website.
I love her. Holy cow.
So how did I do?
But what's cool is it's like still a work in process. So I mean,
Right, 'cause the
anyone that's
cars-
interested in having a commissioned painting that has something that
That they could
they
donate
could trade
towards
Right,
the-
trade
right.
to him for his Strassen version,
And even if you
project.
don't have the parts, like there's a gentleman who got a painting for his for his villa at VIR, Virginia International Racetrack, of his car. And so what we did a deal is, he bought the wheels. So he sends a check to BBS, and BBS sends me the rims. So it's
Easy.
not,
And then
you
he
don't
gets
have
the
to
payment.
have,
There's no
Exactly.
money changing.
right,
hands
you
for
don't have to
guys.
have rims,
Right.
on your shelf.
Right.
But there are people who do have parts, like the front lights. I found new old stock GT3R lights, and that's a straight trade from the guy who had them to me, and he gets something else in return.
That's so cool. And are you enjoying this process as it unfolds?
Yeah, I mean, it's taken longer than I thought it would. Obviously, just like any car restoration or
Well, 2
hunting
years ago,
down.
to me, almost doesn't sound that bad considering that's when you started it. How long has it? And what were you expecting? How about that?
I
A
thought it'd
year?
be done in a year, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's been longer, and I mean, just the gearbox alone, from start from when can I bring it to the shop and drop it off to when I get my car back was 6 months. So even that is, sometimes it's just.
So
know.
you were without the GT3 for 6 months? I didn't realize that.
No, not without. Maybe 3 months.
That's still a long ass time.
Yeah, 3 months. Yeah. Because before that, it was like, you can drop, here's the window, or the window went away. So in the meantime, I don't take the car apart and do something else to it, kind of a
Right.
thing, Because
Still
I
use it.
that, or just, because I thought I was going to be, I don't know, managing time where you say, I'm going to take the car apart. I'm going to take the body apart once. So it doesn't make sense for me to take the body off. And then,
Try to
I
avoid
can get the
redundancy.
gearbox, and then, so I have to put it back together, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
you're making it a runner exactly how you want first, and then you're going to go.
Yeah, I mean,
aesthetics and
mechanically, we're
cosmetics.
pretty much done. So now it's going to be body and interior. Is
Yeah,
next.
you've done it all. That's why.
Nothing left to do.
So,
Well,
so that's the art car. And the reason I called it an art car is, I mean, it is somewhat misleading because you are, people do know the BMW art cars.
And you're not going to be painting.
Not
on
necessarily.
An art car.
No, I think my goal is that I want to build a car that's kind of like a missing link. So it's
Another
a car.
unicorn.
Yeah, so it's a car that Porsche didn't build, but they could have built, and they finished the car, and the suits got to drive it, and they just thought, no, we're not selling this.
There's no way we can
No.
give this to people.
No, it's too much. And then afterwards, you would get the next generation GT3 RS, But
Right. So and your car, no traction control, right?
no traction
No
control,
stability, any
no
of that
stability.
stuff?
No, there's
So
the
it
last
really is like
Widowmaker.
a
It is the
race
last
car.
Widowmaker. Yes, the
Last
04.
Widowmaker.
Yes.
Great.
And staying naturally aspirated, right? Because that's what those
Oh,
are.
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's 400 horsepower. That's enough.
That's what you have now. What was that
More-
car stock?
Actually, it was pretty healthy at 385.
Oh, so that's not that much more.
Yeah, no,
That's
it
a
doesn't.
lot, though. I mean, our
Yeah, I
car's
mean,
355, and I wish it
yeah.
had less, so I could drill in it.
Right.
Power
Yeah.
band is so much more usable now, though, since you got the close ratio gears and the,
The
box.
yeah, it's
Oh,
close
that-
ratio
that
gearbox,
helped a lot.
and we breathed on it a little bit, so it spins up, and you have a single mass flywheel, so it spins up quicker.
We're doing that next time around.
Right there,
Yeah.
you go. So it's
Yeah.
just little things.
While you're in there, you should.
Well, we should have done it last time, and we didn't. Oh yeah, I see what you're doing. We whatever. We did a clutch.
That
not-
should be a
not that long
T-shirt
ago.
while you're in there.
While you're in there,
Get
Yeah.
on it, buddy.
you're not too gimmicky with your stuff.
No, we're not.
This sounds like a terrible idea, but or a terrible thing. But where do you get your? This sounds like Norm Macdonald's podcast. Where do your ideas come from? Where does your inspiration come from? Obviously, if you're getting commissioned to paint a car or something like that,
Right,
it's
those
sort of-
those briefs
this
are given.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But what about when you do your merch lines or when you do something for yourself or, I mean, how does that? What do you tie into to?
I don't really know, to be honest, because it's not like we're successful all the time. Because
Right.
there's a lot of things that I've done or that we have done that are just lead balloons, and then there's things where I thought, I don't know if this is
And then they
such a
eat
good
it up.
idea,
Killed,
or it's
yeah.
like
Eat it
tack
up.
shirt. I never really thought
who'd have
this is
thought
a
that?
great
The clock
idea.
tack, we were
Yeah,
talking about that
you
today.
know.
That's one of my
Exactly.
favorite things.
I know, and you think like it's so obscure, and it's just a tack. It doesn't even say anything.
But
You know,
people eat it up.
People recognize the tack,
Yeah.
and then the people who get that it's clocked really.
right?
Yeah,
and but then
exactly.
I also there's a lot of people who who they just like it because this embodies my spirit because I live life to the max. Because you're close to the
'Cause
red
it's up in
line.
red, yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. And I never really thought about that. I
Living
just
life
thought,
to
It's almost got, like,
fullest.
dual
Live it
meaning.
while you got it. Sure.
Yeah.
yeah, it's very
exactly.
strange because to me it was just like
Don't
no,
hold
no,
back.
we just turned the tack in a
Yeah.
car, so
So that you
See.
can see your red, the small
So
steering wheel.
well, the red line's 12 o'clock,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
All the
yeah.
needles go up. So, And then there's or like the Save the Manual. I never really thought that was such a great idea. It was just kind of struck us.
There's a whole website.
Right,
and everything now.
yeah. So, but
That's not you, right?
And then no,
Right.
and then there's and there's other shirts that I thought, or other paintings, or even or projects where I thought, oh, this is going to be really cool, and it's just nobody cares, and it's just something that
You never know what they're gonna.
No,
what
there's
they're
no
gonna,
rhyme or reason really. It's kind of hit and miss.
What is that? Just spaghetti? You just throw it out there and.
yeah, I
It
mean,
sticks.
yeah, it's not the most scientific way of doing it, obviously,
Yeah.
but
I think I don't know. It's almost like you're right. You built yourself a box, and sort of like whatever comes out of it comes out of it.
right.
You know what I mean? Like you're happy doing the work, and obviously it'd be great if everything was a success. But
Wow.
that's a vacuum, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry, guys. All right. Well, what's coming up for you? What's happening? Like because I know you've got tons of projects in the works. You're
Yeah.
always doing open houses. And
Yeah, I mean, what's happening? Obviously, I'm painting a lot. I think I still have about, 25, 30 paintings.
in the queue.
Yeah, in the queue right
wow.
now. I mean,
Okay.
it's the
So
same
you're
time.
busy.
It's the same as I was here last time, and in the
Yeah.
meantime, I finished 5, and 5 more came along.
So yeah, you don't make any progress.
Well, actually, someone told me the other day, if you catch up, you go bankrupt.
Is that right?
Well, because
That
you
makes
catch
sense, 'cause
up,
then
right?
you don't have
You've
anything.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. You got to
Exactly.
have a backlog. Yeah, that
Right.
makes
Always
sense.
got something in the queue.
Makes
That
perfect
makes sense. Yeah, that's cool.
Gosh. All right. Well,
Always in demand.
I would suggest we take a quick break
Let us do that.
Let the vacuuming go.
and then get Ray Schaeffer in here and just keep the whole thing moving. I
Cool.
hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed talking to us again. You're so hard to read sometimes.
But it
No,
was
I
fun to
mean,
have you back.
I'm his ride, so
Oh, so you got looped in. Well, that's what it was. Heather said, "Yeah, he'll do it."
yeah, because
She never checked with you.
how else is Tori going to come to get to the studio, right? He doesn't here without a car.
It's awesome. It all worked out.
All right. Well, I love that you come to Breakfast Club because I really enjoy driving with you.
No, it's
So,
fun. You're a good driver. You're safe and fast, which is good.
What does the Highway Patrol call us? Fast and friendly.
Yeah.
Fast
Call us
and
fast
friendly.
and friendly because we wave at everybody.
Okay,
That's awesome.
that's
That's the way to be. That's cool.
But no,
Thank you.
good on you.
Thank you for that.
Thanks,
Thanks
Dave.
for coming over, and I'm
Cheers.
so excited. Thank you, by the way. Oh, I wanted to say that. Thank you so much for all of
Oh,
the,
thank you.
the
Thank you.
wardrobe that you've provided us, and I mean, I put you up there as like official wardrobe provider. For
Oh,
the
thank you.
show. You
No,
have so
we're
much stuff.
thank you for wearing it. I mean, that's as good a compliment as any, right? You don't have
All
to
right.
say anything.
Well, that's good. I'm doubling up even today.
All right, good man.
All right, we'll see you guys in a few minutes, and Ray Schaeffer will be in here more after this. See you in a few. And with that, the sanding has stopped. We have had a conversation with what's going on next door, and we are back, everybody. Welcome back. Mr. Ray Schaeffer sitting here. How are you, Ray Schaeffer?
Awesome.
It's such a delight to see you.
Thrilling to be here. I mean, I can't believe it's a year ago, and so much has changed in here. And back with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
get
know.
to follow up Nicholas. It's so cool because where I work every day, I get to walk past huge piece of beautiful artwork that he did for the Le Mans
You do?
win.
It's in. He
Nicolas
has
is
in the
our-
Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Massive.
Porsche?
It's in the foyer of like Porsche headquarters.
yeah.
Massive
Good job,
picture.
Nicholas Hunziker.
Is that the one that's it's a series
It's
of several?
3 or 4 panel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, it took him like a month to do that. He told me.
As in only a month.
Only a month.
That surprises
That's
me. That sounds like
It's
not that
huge.
much for
It's
the amount
pretty
of
massive.
just the physical painting of it. I would think would take a long time.
Yeah. That's
It's so
That's
good
pretty
to
cool.
see you. It's so
Thank
good
you.
to see
It's great
you.
to see you again. I feel like you said when we first got together a little bit ago that with the videos and the back and forth we've been doing that we haven't been apart for long, even though it's been a year.
It's sort of like delayed conversation. You give us our part or your part, and
Yeah.
we'll give you our part. Later tonight, and then you send another. It's
Well, then I get to watch the show and I get to see the reaction because I didn't realize you didn't watch the videos until you actually aired them.
that's what we do now. Yeah, we didn't start that way, but we found out that is better and it's more real for I think everybody. It's more enjoyable to kind of experience it together.
It was fun, yeah, especially on that one where we had our mutual friend.
Oh,
Surprise.
I mean, can we just open up with Mr. Ramsey Potts because we would be remiss, and I think he might also if we didn't.
right.
Ramsey,
That's
That
right.
was-
Mr. Ramsey Potts.
One of the funniest moments I think I've ever seen in my life. It was so great. Your face is so classic.
It really was the classic. Very nice.
Thank you. Nice.
Yeah.
segue.
You go way back with Ramsey Potts, but you work together all the time.
Yeah.
Now.
Oh, it's crazy. In fact, I've got another video for you. Speaking of working together, you take a look at that at some point.
Yeah.
But
We have one loaded in today, and we can play that at any time.
we could do that.
you
Yeah,
want.
and it could be appropriate now because someone had posted a picture of Ramsey in black and white. Of course, he has his vest on and his hat and everything. And my response was, the most colorful guy you'll know, even in black and white.
Oh,
It's so true.
wonderful.
That's
That's
awesome.
very fitting.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's
all right,
wonderful,
well,
yeah.
in that case, I'm going to take us all backstage. Even though you're sitting here front stage, we're going to take us all backstage in a video from Mr. Ray Shaffer.
Let's do it.
Roll it out.
Hello, Jay and Nicole from Road Atlanta. Just finished up the test day here for the Walter Mitty HSR races in this 924 Carrera GTS Club Sport behind me. What a great opportunity. Really thank Martin for that. Just such a cool car. 2-liter, 280 horsepower, turbocharged 4-cylinder, 930 brakes, 5-speed gearbox. Wonderful car around the twisting hills here in Road Atlanta. So looking forward to the Enduro on Sunday. Let's take a walk around and show you some close-ups of the car. Backstage pass, if you will.
Canon liveries here in his own personally. Love it. Yep.
One of the things you need to do when you're racing a racetrack is to go spotting the corners, watch the other cars go through. So while we're here at Road Atlanta this weekend, I'm doing just that. But you remember that old Visa or MasterCard commercial? I can't remember which one, but basically it said, Visa card, it's everywhere you want to be, or MasterCard, it's everywhere you want to be. Well, apparently this guy is everywhere I want to be because look who I ran into, Jay and Nicole.
Hey, how are you, Jay and Nicole? Hello, Mrs. Bryan. I'm so proud of you kids, but I'm having a good time with my pal Ray here at Road Atlanta. We're having some fabulous southeastern weather, and we're getting to watch some really cool historic racing.
So just like in Barber, you can see the guy has no enthusiasm whatsoever. But seriously, we did not come here together. I found him here.
Yeah.
So
Just can't help it. Everywhere he is, apparently I am too. He's just that cool.
it's Ramsey Potts. Everywhere you want to be, he is.
See you guys. Love ya.
Have a great show.
Ray Shaffer.
That's awesome.
You do not disappoint, my friend.
Ramsey.
It's Ramsey.
I love him.
Electricity in a human body, yes?
Yeah, I would agree.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I'm
Power
so
20
delighted.
Teslas with that guy's
That's right.
character.
Tycons.
Yes. Missionini slash Tycon slash, yeah.
Good grief.
No Teslas.
I would like to talk about One Road Atlanta. It's one of my favorite tracks I've never been to.
Yeah, amazing track.
I race it all the time on the Forza. I don't know if you do any of that virtual racing since you're on the real tracks all the time.
We have the simulator lab at the PEC, and I will admit to citing the track with some after-work activity on
Really?
the simulator. Yeah,
That's cool.
Oh, when we come visit,
They have one in
wouldn't
LA
mind
too.
doing that if you don't mind.
Yep.
for sure.
So is that? It's not a video game. It's a actual
doesn't
PC
have
simulator, right?
Yeah, it's a set of course of software is what they use. But
Oh,
it's,
I like that one.
So it has the engineering information about the car in there. So if you're doing a 962 at Road Atlanta, it feels like
Like a
that would-
962.
Like a
that
962.
would compared to an RSR.
Wow.
Yeah,
And it's
That's
the
cool.
full rig with the seat and the steering wheel and all
yeah.
that stuff?
It just doesn't have motion. It's
Right, okay.
surround video, surround sound. And
Wow, that's very
works
cool.
really well.
That must be a nice, I don't know, not a perk, but just a nice little.
Oh, way to blow off steam after work, too.
I'm trying to think. I would do that all the time solely
I know.
for
That'd be cool.
meditation.
Yeah,
I mean,
agree.
I'll do a couple laps just
You
to
get
get out of a bad
you
mood
done
sometimes.
with lunch
Yeah.
early, like, oh, I'll go hit the sim lab.
Well,
for
it had been
couple
about
laps.
20 years since I had driven Road Atlanta prior to this, and so the track still had the dip in it back then,
Mhm.
and so this was a good way to get on there and figure it out a little bit ahead of time.
Where was the dip?
It was where turn 10A and 10B is, right before the bridge. It was really yeah, rather
But what you
insane.
just showed actually.
Yeah,
on
that's
that.
right. The video that was up there, that little section of the track used to be full speed down the back straightaway, which was just incredible top speed.
It's almost Le Mans style,
And then you would go
right?
down into a little valley and then up, and you'd aim for the basically the foot of the bridge, and then the way the corner was shaped, you would just kind
It's
of like
off
slide
camber,
around
down
it and
off,
down
yeah.
the hill. Yeah,
Wow.
still an amazing corner without the dips. Going down the hill is a blind apex down the hill, and you have to commit to it before you can see where you're going. So it's
Well,
an
and
interesting
then
corner.
and it's a high speed right
Yeah.
into the start finish
Yeah,
line.
it's right in the start. And there's basically the concrete canyons right there too.
Right.
Yeah, so it's an
Gosh.
interesting track for sure. But that car,
Can we talk about
Yeah,
that
that
car?
car- that
That car
car's amazing.
sounded amazing.
it's a 2-liter 4-cylinder. Is a true Porsche classic.
It's
The
a
vehicle-
924
924 Carrera GTS.
Carrera GTS.
And this one's a club sport. So they made 59 homologation cars of the 924
That's what we were just talking
Carrera
about
GTS.
before, right?
And they made 15 of them as club sports, which were higher horsepower, lighter weight. So you're looking at about 280 horsepower again out of a 2-liter 4-cylinder. This is in 1981.
Yeah.
So if you think about
That's
that,
crazy horsepower numbers for
Massive
that.
From
in,
that
in
small
81.
distance.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, considering what the 928 of that time put out, and this
So-
was half as many cylinders,
That's
it's
right.
pretty impressive.
yeah, and the car is considered the stated 0 to 60 time was like 5.3 seconds.
Wow.
Top speed was I think in the 160, 165 range.
Wow.
So-
For that little displacement, that
Yeah.
is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, lighter weight car, and of course the club sports have the aluminum roll cage. They have the fiberglass door inserts. They have the 935 lollipop seats, the turbo boost knob. There are a few of these things on this particular car were a little special because this car was originally Bruce Levin's car.
Okay.
So he was the original owner of that car, Bruce Levin from Bayside Disposal. A couple Sebring 12-hour wins that he had with guys like Bob Wallach and Bobby Rahal, and so
big names in the
Yeah.
motorsport world.
for sure. So it was a real honor to get to drive the car that was once his.
That is really
neat.
cool. It's a couple things I noticed. I used to be a 944 guy, you know that. A couple things I noticed, like the windows with the sliders. Was that all on all of them? These club sports?
It was on the Carrera GTSs, and yeah,
It was.
the most inconvenient thing because you're sitting there all strapped into the car, and you can see the rear view mirror there, which is not manual.
You
And
can't get to
You
it.
just want to knock it out just a little bit, and you can't reach it because the sliding part's back here where
Yep.
your hand goes out. So there's no adjusting the mirror.
Well, we have something in common with DeLoreans.
Yeah, I
We
was
both
just going
had
to say, it's
DeLoreans,
got to be like a DeLorean.
and it was, just that little trapezoid.
no drive-thrus for you.
No.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah,
well,
but the
that
car
must-
looks a lot like it because the styling of it, the front fender flares, the back, that was all carried over into the production 944 eventually.
Right.
Yeah, the
And
box
then it-
flares on the 924 look pretty cool
Look
because you
really
don't see them.
Yeah.
I kind of
not
like
something
the
you see
bolted on look too,
Right.
versus
Right.
actually.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Well, you do not disappoint with your videos, Ray Shaffer. Can we talk about your improvement? This is something you had never done before until maybe a couple months ago, and you started doing these for us.
Yeah, it's been
so
fun.
grateful. So grateful.
It's absolutely my pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity to do, because there's so many wonderful classic cars that were around at the Experience Center all the time. And then out at the events, as I mentioned when we were talking earlier, this is the first weekend in 6 weeks I haven't been at a racetrack. We work 5 days a week, and then you go the weekend, and all the great tracks that are around Atlanta have these great opportunities in the springtime. So, yeah, it'd be great to be around all the cars and the people, and it seemed like a shame not to do anything with it. So it's been fun to dig in a little bit and get better at it. So thank you for that.
We've enjoyed it. We've enjoyed it for all the same reasons that the Kaz guy. They're all going out and doing all this social stuff that we don't really have that life anymore, and we don't really want it, to be honest with you. But it's a nice reminder seeing everybody else out there going, oh, there's a whole real world out there that's really, really big.
I'll be in my box.
Because we're talking to cameras. Well, you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
totally.
We're in this little box.
Yeah.
We really are.
Yeah.
Not complaining, but it is what it is.
It's a super awesome way to share what you do with the community. Like, people say that to us at Breakfast Club all the time, like, that can't be there, that, like, are working in whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
They're like, we just look at your Instagram. And so, like, for people to be able to tune into the show and see what's going on in Atlanta, that's incredible.
Well, and
It's
flip
such
side, I
an
love tuning into the show and seeing what's going on out here and all the folks in the community out here. It's great. Jeff, the show you had with Jeff Swart was so much fun, and I can't wait to see that movie.
He's
working
here.
Right?
Racing in the Rain.
Art of Racing in the Rain.
Rain.
It's going to be good.
Did you read the book, Tori? I know you said, I know, but did you read it?
Oh, yeah, I read it.
It's so good.
It's amazing.
I was going to say, you bought it and read it in like one night almost.
Yeah, one day.
One day, it was,
and
right?
And shipped it off to you guys. Yeah.
Thanks. I've cried nonstop since.
She's almost
Where
done with it.
Where
and
are
then
you at with it?
I'm next.
I'm halfway through it, and I
Okay.
just, because I keep crying every chapter.
Oh, it'll get worse.
And then she'll stop because it's like, oh, I'm emotional. I don't want to be emotional.
Oh, it's so sad. But it redeems itself in the end. So
Okay.
just know there's a light.
It's a great life story. I can't wait
It
for it to
is.
hear what you think about it, because it's so good.
Well, and I'm a dog person too, so the fact that it's like told through the eyes of a dog, and it's really cool. And of course,
You
Jeff,
got 2 dogs.
I do. I have 2 dachshunds, little German dogs, of course. And then, but the fact, like, you can see how Jeff would be attracted to this project because
He's such an animal lover
yeah,
anyway.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
Jezebel
it's
and the whole bit.
perfect,
Yeah.
perfect gig for him. So, yeah.
Well, back to what you were just saying a moment ago before we did get onto Jeff Swart. Do you remember asking the question a year ago when you were here, where do you think this is going to be? And I said, well, I think I'd like it to be like The Tonight Show for our people.
Totally is.
There we go.
It totally happened.
Totally is.
Thanks to all of this village working in the same direction here, we totally are doing that sort of thing, and we're tickled pink about it.
Yeah.
To be out here on the coast and people fly in and come do our show, I mean, it's so cool. It's a little fantasy world.
Absolutely. It's a great community, and that's what you're really doing, is you're having a spot where everybody's kind of being able to stay in touch and pull together that way, and and you're 1 year in. A little over 1 year.
Just over, just over. I mean, I feel like about maybe 2 weeks we've known what we were doing.
Yeah.
And next 2 weeks, I'll feel like 2 weeks ago we didn't know what we were doing.
It's amazing.
The growth,
Yep.
We're learning all of this just like you with your video over there, but there's a lot of stuff you don't have to learn because you're an expert on already. Can we talk about Porsche and everything that's going on with Porsche over there in Atlanta?
Thank you. I appreciate that opportunity. It's been a busy year for us as well. I mean, last year with the 70th anniversary.
Big deal.
Wow.
Yeah, plus Rensport on top of that, and last year was crazy.
Yeah, that's right. Because we have the normal events. I mean, obviously, we come out here for Luft and Monterey Car Week, and then Rensport, like you said, on top of that. And then there was that little thing that Ramsey and I worked on called the 70th anniversary auction, and the RM Sotheby's. That was amazing. So many classic folks together for that. I'm just.
Well, even fun. how you guys all put that together in the I don't know, would you call that a rotunda? What do you call that area?
In the courtyard.
Courtyard, okay, yeah.
Courtyard.
Just the physicality of it all looked so attractive.
Yeah, it was. The weather tried real hard to make it not attractive, but
it's still, you guys still pulled it off.
But you made it, okay.
You pulled it off.
Yeah,
and you went to that one too, didn't you?
I did. I was down there for that. Mm-hmm.
How was it?
It was a blast. It's so much fun. Yeah, I mean, you get to hang with Ray and Ramsey and Jim Goodlit and all these guys. It's just, it's like your second family.
Here's somebody I have not met yet.
Oh, we've got to get Jim on here.
I feel like I know him.
I hope so.
Through the posts
I hope
and
so.
through your videos.
What an amazing guy. He's such
another
a nice guy.
warm body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really lives the authentic. Really into the rally history and the off-road driving. Maybe a little bit too much.
That safari car that he drives with bare feet and then goes and gets breakfast. It's the best. It's the best.
Yeah,
great.
it's neat.
My karting partner.
Yeah, and you guys are both heck of a wheel wheel people. Like, man, I mean,
We can
watching these guys
diverge
race
from Porsche for a second and talk karting, because that's on here too. I mean, karting, you're one of the biggest karters I know, and
Oh, wow.
another thing I need to do when we come visit is
For
that
sure.
kart track that's at the Speedway. The topography changes, all of the technical turns. It
Yeah.
looks like heaven for
It
somebody
is
like me.
it is a mini Mosport, what I call it, because it's just like Mosport. It has all these fast off-camber, downhill, uphill turns,
Transitions and stuff.
and that's what Mosport is. Yeah, it's really a commit to the corner, and you just hold on and hope that you stick onto the track part, because it's just
It's a
fast
blast.
sweepers. Yeah, you did it.
Can
It's a
anyone
blast.
do that? Is that
Mhm.
like, yeah?
Yeah.
You guys did it with, was it Jim Goodlett and Jeff Swart?
Yeah, we
Is
were
that
all there
right?
one
Yeah.
day. Yeah, I think
Not
I've
bad.
raced there 3 different times now, and every time it's just amazing. Blows me away.
But was that the place that when you, because I hadn't seen it at the time, when you were on, you mentioned a time when you guys all went with Jeff
Yeah,
Swart.
yeah.
Is that the place you went that he wasn't sure and he said, well, I'm going anyway?
Oh yeah, Jeff. Right, that was great. We had breakfast that morning. He came in for the weekend to do the Haggerty event at the
Right.
PEC with us, and had the discussion about rally cars and classic cars and all the great stuff we talk about. And we were at breakfast with Doug from Haggerty, and we were talking about. So what are you doing after? What are you doing after the panels? Jeff was kind of like, "What are you going to do at? We're done about noon or so, about 1 o'clock." I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I'm
Because
thinking."
you've already planted a seed previously, right?
Right. Because I
Right.
said we got to get up there. We got to get up there, and so he let it be known at that point in time. After I said, "Well, I was hoping we might be able to go up there afterwards and go do this, have some fun." And he was like, "Well, frankly, that's why I got the rental car, because I didn't know what you were doing, and just in case you weren't taking me, I was
gonna
going."
go anyway.
Wow.
That's how much of a racer that guy is.
Had he seen it,
Oh, I
or was
love
that just
that
from your
guy.
description?
Just from the description.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo.
That was neat.
What a bunch of like-minded people we surround ourselves with.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
And then just the ride up there and back, the stories he was telling us were just unreal.
Oh,
That's
you know,
right.
you got to talk to him for a while.
Delightful. That was the longest show we've ever done because I wasn't going to stop. I said I didn't. It took us a year to get him here. Not because he didn't want to do it. He wanted to do it from the first day, but he's
just that
so
busy.
Kind of a busy guy.
He's so busy, and in every different area, his own career, all of the help he does for the rest of us in the Porsche
Right.
community.
Luft.
He donates so much time to
Yeah.
this whole thing. It's amazing. But yeah, it was like a 2-hour episode or whatever. I said, well, I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to go.
Let him go. Let him talk. Yeah.
Porsche, though.
Porsche.
70th anniversary is great. A lot of interesting cars have been coming out of Porsche. A lot of limited cars. Is there anything you can talk about there?
Well, you know, it's interesting. We were I was listening to you talk with Nicolas about his project with the GT3, and the 996 generation is the newest 911 model that fits the definition of what we consider a Porsche classic vehicle.
Classic, yeah.
So that is 10 years out of series production since the last model was made, and so the 997, your car, for example, I believe is 2023, because I think in 2012 and a
both.
half, yeah, we sort of had the 997 there. So it'll be
That's a bummer for us because ours is like it's already 15 years old because it was an 04 build.
right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
Gotta wait.
Right.
But it's okay because right now all the parts supply for that car is being handled by the production people that built the car in the first place. So that the responsibility of that will then get handed over to our department, for the classic department, after that period, and then that will be indefinitely. Just like they're still making parts for the 356, you know, the
Mhm.
brake drums, you know, that are made now.
It's so
You know.
wild to me. It's
Yeah.
so great. I mean,
It
I
is.
think it's great. I don't know what everyone else thinks. I think it's really neat.
I think
Yeah.
it's cool.
Well, you know, we do the math on it, and right now there's over 200,000 classic Porsches in the United States alone that are registered for road use. Now, if you figure the cars that are in collections that still run and are used, but they're not actually registered for the road, the number's probably higher. So that 70% that is put out in the advertising,
It's probably low.
every year they go back and they check the math worldwide to make sure.
Oh,
that they
the amount of cars that are still
Yeah.
on the yeah.
yeah,
Right.
the over 70% of all Porsches ever built are still registered for road use today, and we make sure it stays that way.
It's only going to grow, right? Because
Yeah.
okay.
I feel like he does every year because I mean, look at all the cars
got
that are
to.
being pulled out of barns
But
and
it has-
garages and everything
Yeah.
else. You know, that far outweighs the number of cars that are getting wrecked or rolled down Angela's Crest.
Just the
you know.
interest these days. There's so much interest from the young people, which I
It's-
love. You must love as well.
You can see it everywhere. We go to so many different events that you really do see you see it all.
The enthusiasm,
Yeah,
the love.
the age groups, no matter what part of the country you go to. And I've been to events in Europe as well, and you see the same thing over there. So I mean, it's not going anywhere. And then Ramsey, going back to him for a minute, you know, he'll be the first to tell you all the events that he goes to, and he goes to a lot of events. He makes it a point. There's a lot of young people. He'll point them out. and it's because it is not a dying hobby. It's
No,
it's
not
just
at all.
there's different ways. And look at what we're doing tomorrow. That didn't exist.
Right.
5 years.
Well, I mean,
6 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, the attendance numbers from last year's Rennsport. I mean, that's
82,000.
that's all the proof you
highest
need to
capacity
know.
they've ever had at Laguna or
exactly.
Mazda, whatever it's called now.
Mazda
Mazda
Laguna,
Infineon.
yeah,
whatever.
Mazda Raceway.
WeatherTech.
Yeah.
It's now WeatherTech.
WeatherTech.
Oh yeah,
That's
that's
right.
right. It is
WeatherTech
WeatherTech.
Raceway.
Yes, that's
We're
right.
moving on.
Yeah, I wonder what it'll be next year. But yeah,
It'll
it's,
always be Laguna Seca.
and
It'll always
what's-
be Sears Point.
Right,
I can't
right,
get
right.
over my childhood.
well, and what struck me too is how many young kids were there.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a bunch of old guys in polo shirts and loafers. I mean, it's a different crowd now.
Did you see? By the way, there's a video, and I probably should have pulled up, but there's one that Porsche did that is done
move that
through
just
the
a little.
child's. There's a video that's done through the child's voice of going to Rennsport and seeing.
Oh, I haven't seen
Have you
that.
seen
That's
that?
cool.
haven't seen
Oh,
that.
that's
That
neat.
sounds
Cool.
It's a
wonderful.
tearjerker. Yeah.
The
it's-
California Dreamin' one was good too.
The
It was
the
very
Porsche,
reminiscent of your videos, actually.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, it was just cool. It was like the same vibe. It's like, yeah, that's
When
what.
art imitates life.
I don't. Yeah, I was gonna say I
It
don't
is
know.
neat. It
I
was
don't know
neat.
who's pushing who and who's whatever.
But it's neat to see that you guys are on the same page with stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It feels good. It feels good. When we first started doing this, I mean, we were really weirdos. You remember, it was even on our thing, like, oh, you're weirdos too.
Like
You
us.
know what I
If
mean?
you're
And
weird
now
too,
it's
come.
kind of like
Yeah.
once a weirdo steps out of the closet, then the other weirdos
Right.
see it's okay.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, everyone's just out there being creative together.
Right.
One of the things I love, and I was going to say before, because the young people, I love seeing the creativity that people are putting into these cars, these old vintage cars specifically,
Yeah.
but even the new ones, whether it's just stickers or whether it's mods or whatever it happens to be. They're making them art, just like you did with your car there, and they're making them personal.
Yep.
And I think
Make it your own.
it's almost like how you dress, whatever your choices are, whether it's sneakers or dress shoes or
Yeah.
jeans
Yeah,
or
how you
whatever.
putting it together?
Yeah, and I think it's really, really good for the world.
I
I don't
agree.
know even what I mean by that. I think it's a much bigger movement than we even all realize
But
right
because you're
now.
making your own personal connection
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
Right. So
right.
I think one of the pictures I sent you was
Shall we?
the Carrera GT.
All right.
Right,
Let's
so
see.
The
There we
image
go.
is up there.
Mhm.
There it is. Yeah. So that's a perfect example. So this is a car that is now considered a Porsche Classic because it was last made for the 2006 model year.
That's a classic.
Yeah,
right
how,
now?
how old does that make
was-
you feel?
was 2002
Carrera
was the first year,
GTs
right?
are now
I
considered
want
Yeah, the
to
models
die
are
a little.
classic. Yeah.
Model years
Oh
were
my God.
2004 to 2006.
Isn't that amazing?
Well, the U.S. cars were 2005.
Okay.
So technically 2006. So in 2016, it became the responsibility of Porsche Classic to look after the car. And so this particular project, we were having lunch in a restaurant 356 with one of our new car customers, and a relatively young fellow who has a wonderful car collection. And as we were talking,
Anyone we know out here?
no,
Okay.
yeah, wonderful car collection, and he, although he is on Instagram and really enjoys it, so you'll see the car on there if you look at that way. But nevertheless, we were having this conversation about his car collection and all these great new cars that he has, and it sort of went to what was missing, what's in your it's not in your collection that you'd like to have.
That you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, and this was his poster car. You think about it, back in 2004, 5, and 6, right? And so he said, "But I'll get one for my collection someday." And so we just started talking about, well, what if you could have ordered it back then? What would you have done? And there actually wasn't a whole
Great
Like in
question.
the
Yeah.
individual program and all that.
and back then there really wasn't a lot that you could do from a personalization standpoint with the Carrera GT. So we just started talking about it, and I was thinking in my head,
Oh, you just brought up a really good point, though. They kind of came how they were, right? It was sort of like, this comes with everything, and here it is.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
get this
There just weren't a lot of
transmission.
options with. I mean, a lot of them were silver, a lot of them were red.
Right, it's this color or this color almost.
yeah,
Exactly.
right. So there
Sorry to
wasn't-
cut you off.
No, no worries. There wasn't a whole lot that you could really do in that respect. I mean, it was a phenomenal machine. It was built, as a basically a racing car for the street, and the sound is phenomenal. So we obviously
You love it. Look at that.
Oh,
Oh, my
yeah.
goodness.
Yes,
what's
you've
not
lit
to like?
up.
I love Carrera
Really?
GTs. That's
I'm
probably
the only one who's never been touched by that car.
probably
never.
my,
Is that right?
Probably
Not even
my
a little bit.
favorite modern Porsche.
You're kidding.
What?
What am I
Kid you
missing?
not.
Can you guys
Well,
tell me what
I
I'm
was
missing? Because
at-
I know I'm the only one.
Have you been to an F1 race in the 90s?
No, I
Okay.
didn't. So is
I-
that what it is? Is it?
Well, for me, I mean, I still remember walking. The first one I ever went to was Montreal, and I remember coming off of the subway, and you come up from underground on the island, and as you start walking towards the racetrack, because it's on an island in the middle of Montreal, whatever the river's called over there. And as you're walking towards the racetrack, you could just hear the cars coming. I mean, this is when you had V10s, Ferrari V12s, you had the V8s,
Just that
was mixed in.
guttural
Yeah.
intake.
Yeah.
And this was the engine that originally started life for the footwork program, the Formula One, the early 1990s, that had been put on the shelf and was pulled back out again to do the LNP189 program, which was also discontinued before the car ever happened.
Okay.
000 did a great inside story about that car. But they reused the engine. Typical of Porsche, nothing ever sits on the shelf.
Nothing
goes
goes
to
to away,
waste.
and
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah, exactly.
You know, and it's just amazing. So yeah, it's a wonderful sound. That sound for me, and of course we were selling those when I was at Brumos in the early 2000s. We sold 13 of them through our dealership.
Holy smokes!
Yeah,
How many of them are there? It was a limited run, right?
Yeah, there was 1,270, I think was the number ultimately, and I forget the number that came to the United States, but it was a pretty low number. The 1,270 was for the world that they made.
I don't mean to. I don't have a problem with the car, or anything. I don't not like it or anything. I've never gotten what everyone gets out of it, and perhaps it's maybe just the
You know what it
history
is
I
for
didn't
me?
realize.
It's I think last of the analog is such an overused phrase
Yeah.
with cars, and especially Porsches. Like, it seems like everyone is like, oh, the GT2 RS, last of the truly analog cars, you know, or the GT, you know, the
everybody
911R.
everybody
That's
says
the
that for everything.
every new Porsche. It seems like everyone's like, oh, this is it. This is the last one. To me, the Carrera GT was the last of the truly analog.
But in my mind, it's such a specialty car that it doesn't really fit in anywhere other than, wow, that's really impressive. But like, it's, you
It's
know what I'm
just an
saying? It's-
engineering feat.
It's
to
a
me.
super sports
It's-
car.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. No, so
It's-
that's it. I know
it's-
that the
it's
transmission's
just
spectacular. I know that.
Everything on the car was. I mean, it was just. I mean, just
But
the
isn't it
look of
extra
it, the
spectacular? Didn't they
sound,
design it for that
everything,
car?
everything.
The transmission, isn't there something special about it?
Oh my gosh! I mean, everything about it. The clutch is tiny, and it's carbon ceramic clutch. The first time that was ever done on a production car. And the reason all this matters, the engine itself, is that it's instant on and instant off for a normally aspirated engine. When you turn that key to turn it on, it's just like when they plug the laptop into the Formula One car. And it's
Yeah,
on.
it just fires it
Yeah,
off.
when you shut it off, whoop, it's off.
Done.
There's no
Okay.
rundown.
Right.
There's no slack.
No
No
dual
slop
mass
anywhere.
flywheel on that sucker.
no dieseling on.
No, so
none
I
of
mean,
that.
it is a real experience, and I think the styling of the car has aged extremely well too. You notice we didn't do anything with the styling
Just
of the car.
color it
It's-
looked like, just paint.
Yeah, from the appearance of the car, yeah, that's true. But from a styling standpoint, very few cars are designed by the same person inside and out. You usually have somebody design the exterior of the car,
Different-
a team
yeah.
will, right,
Yeah.
and then someone else does the interior and what have you. But this car was done top to bottom by Tony Hatter, and
Oh, so
Tony-
it's- I
yeah.
know what you mean by that.
yeah, so it is definitely of Grant Larson did the concept car, but Tony had to make it into a real car, and that was there's a lot you have to do to make it into a real car. He talked about that when we did the unveiling last October at the RM Sotheby's auction weekend, and that's the first time we showed the car. But he talked about that, and it was really really impressive to see how that thought process carried from the outside to the inside of the car. So it is definitely, even though a team worked on that, it's a one person car. It's not a committee car.
I did just
Love that.
remember one of the things I never liked about it from the beginning and right on to now. It was the beginning of what I consider something I just happen to personally not like at all about modern Porsches, the giant center tunnel, which I know is necessary for a lot of reasons. I've
And the
heard all
high-up
of this stuff. I've
shifter,
heard
like,
everything.
here,
But
right.
and I understand the reasoning. Oh, it's really cool.
Ergonomics and
I
whatnot.
understand everything, and I'm not trying to fight anybody on it.
Just not
I
your jam.
personally don't like it. To me, it's not Porsche-like. There were things that I, in my own mind, attached to. Oh, a Porsche
Yeah.
has this. A Porsche has that. A Porsche is only like
Yeah.
this. It's the only car like that, so it should be that way because that's what makes it special. And this car was like, oh, they're getting away from all that in my uneducated brain at the time.
Well, you know, it's interesting, but if Porsche would have listened to all of the people who said that's not a true Porsche, you shouldn't do that,
They'd still be
the
making the
company,
first one, right?
Well, we would have been out of business a long time ago
Yeah.
after the first one.
Yeah.
For that reason, and I mean, the same time this was happening, the Cayenne was another one of those products that was out there as that's not really what Porsche does, but it is totally what we do.
But it was the Boxster too.
Yeah,
It's-
I
I was just gonna
it's
say, same with the
Yeah,
Boxster.
each
It's,
one really,
yeah,
it's an injection into the.
It really
It's the
is.
DNA. Yeah, and I'm convinced now if they told me tomorrow they're going to make a school bus, it would just be the most amazing school bus.
Well, I agree with
Yeah.
you.
I'd go back to
Yeah, I
school.
know
I
that.
totally agree.
You go back
Tory's
to
enrolling.
Seriously, what grade? I'll sit
Mission
next to
accomplished.
I'm gonna study art so I can do an art car project and then get a free GT.
Yeah, so that brings me back to what I was saying about Nick's project and what he was talking about
Yes.
in the GT3 and the Carrera GT. The 996 generation is the classic generation right now. It's everything from 356 and then up to 911. in the 996 generation. So we were actually having this conversation about now that we've done this recommission on the Carrera GT, what do we think is going to happen with the later cars? Because the Carrera GT was too new for a restoration, and so it's why it made sense to talk about it as a recommission. So it wasn't just a color change. We didn't just paint the car and say that it's. We wanted to give this customer a new Carrera GT. Now it has the VIN number from an existing car.
Sure.
We didn't make something that wasn't already there, but we had to make sure it was completely new for the customer of the car. And so that meant
You're delivering it as a new car, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it was brought down to absolutely nothing. The tub completely refinished, with about 350 hours just in the hand sanding on the carbon fiber.
Yeah, they refinished all the carbon fiber.
This is a good question. You guys know the car well enough that
unreal.
you know all of the bits. If you take that car apart, you know what all the bits are.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work here because it is essentially a race car, right?
Yeah, and the neat part about this was that a lot of the tooling and the people that worked on that program when it was new in production at Leipzig are now in the classic program. And so the engine
great.
builder who built that engine the first time around is the exact same fellow that
That's
did it
You're
this
rad.
kidding me.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah,
That is
that's
so
where the
cool.
heritage comes
Yeah,
in. That's why
exactly,
why what you guys do is special.
Yeah.
Well, and the other part of it too is the experience. And so the owner of the car, as we went through this project, would go over to visit while the car was in Germany and get to know the people and see the process, and then actually make some changes while you're there, because you were joking about the while you're in there.
While you're in there.
Okay. But while the engine is completely out of the car,
Now's the time to
why
do
wouldn't
it.
you?
Yeah,
why don't we
exactly.
polish the heads? Why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? So a lot of great input that the owner had. So to make that one-on-one connection, not only with the car, but also with the people that are making the car. I mean, we love our cars, so we have like a relationship with them, but could you imagine being involved with
That
the
is such a
creation?
good experience for him.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
how cool.
We have a friend here in town named Jeff Sharon, who's also got a
I know,
Porsche
yes.
collection, and I thought that
Yeah.
might be who you were talking
Yeah.
about before. He just recently picked up a GT2 RS, and you probably already know what I'm going to say, but he has such a wonderful relationship with not only the people in the factory and obviously all of your big wigs.
Right.
He also just recently had a baby, and they all wrote personal messages, like cave art in the old day. In the DeLorean world, we called it cave art.
Right.
On the hood liner of the the hood of the GT2.
So cool.
So it's all these messages from Klaus, everybody.
How
So
wonderful.
cool.
Yeah.
That's neat.
So that to me is the
Didn't they
personal
give him a
touches.
car seat too, I think?
I think so.
Yeah,
they did
I
all
think
sorts
they
of
did
stuff,
like a
but the
bespoke
things
car
are in there
seat
like
that matches
because the car
for
is
the-
essentially like for the kid.
Yeah.
I don't want to get
That's
too
neat.
much information, but it's just a wonderful story.
No, it was on Instagram. That's the only reason I
Same
mentioned
here.
it.
That's the only
But
reason
yeah,
I'm
it was
talking
really
about it too.
cool.
It's a wonderful story, and that's not just the customer's end. I mean, Porsche made that happen.
Oh,
There's
absolutely.
and I mean, again, there's so many stories of. I wish you could see. I mean, we talk about backstage pass, and I would love to be able to just
Show everything.
have it all out there. But there's so much great stuff going on, and it's just there's no sign of it ending at all. I mean, because that is really what makes it special. And when you can work with people on that level, and our dealer partners do it every day. I mean, there's examples of it that are happening when you go down to your corner authorized Porsche dealership and pick up your car. I mean, the way they make it special. So we just take every opportunity we can at every level to engage like that. It's so much fun.
Well, that's why you have the brand loyalty as well. I mean,
I think that's
you
it
just
it
don't
really
get
is what
that
makes it
level
special.
of commitment from the manufacturer from some of these other major car makers. I mean, that's why people have the
It
passion
goes back
they
a
do
long
for this
way.
car. It
Yeah,
does. It
goes
does.
back a long way.
And it's generational.
Yeah.
I mean, these kids that kid will grow up and
Oh, yeah.
their kid will
Yeah.
have a.
Did you meet the
911.
kid today at Breakfast Club who's got the old Beetle that's got the Subaru
No, I
engine in
didn't.
it? It's
I
water
s-
cooled. He's got the little breather bottle on the front.
I saw the
overflow
car,
bottle.
but I didn't get to talk to him.
This
but-
is a kid who's, I don't know how old he is, but he's in college, so he's young. And he built this car. And he drives it up to Breakfast Club. His whole family's had VWs, and they know John Penton. They're in the
Yeah,
little
yeah.
community. But he's a young kid, and he's even out there wrenching and building, and I just
cool.
love it. It makes
Yep.
me so happy
Yeah.
because what you're doing is working, and it's still working long after we're done doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's out there, and there's more of it coming. I mean, there's so much
Right.
opportunity. I just talk about these 200,000 cars, but the fact is, I mean, they go from generation to generation. There'll be more of them brought out. We continue to add the parts every year. So, I mean, the catalog is about 52,000 parts, and every year it goes up by 200 to 300 more. It's a time-consuming process, and getting just the right thing at the right time. It's never going to be perfect, but you're always working on it, and there's just a lot of commitment for that. So I think as you see the electric future coming from the mobility standpoint, I don't see this classic passion going anywhere except being amplified.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's just going to add fuel to the fire because people are going to want to harken back to this era of motoring and.
Well, and Porsche's committed to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's
that's clear, and that's almost reason. It's like I feel like that's why everyone's. Oh, I can get in on this. I can invest in it. It's not going anywhere.
It's not going
it's
away.
It's not Saab.
Exactly. Yeah. Saturn.
Do you have Saturn?
He worked for Saturn.
That was when my dad died when I was 18. That was the job I got.
Yeah,
and that's how I met East Coast Feed.
With the Casman.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're friends for this long. We met each other so young.
Well, we could go down a rabbit hole there because there's a shame. That's a shame the way that when that started out.
Oh, you know this whole story?
Totally.
And how Riney did the commercials and everything. They sent me to Saturn Spring Hill training down in Nashville.
It was amazing. They had a reunion at the factory, and people who aren't even car people showed up.
They did it
at the car factory.
They did it every year.
So I mean, it just
Saturn
goes to
Homecoming.
show you. It's again back to that community feeling. I mean, it
that was their big selling point. That was we're a family, and here's our people.
That East Coast Feed guy drove to every single one of them from Connecticut down to Nashville, I guess.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Can we look at these other pictures and you can tell us about them?
What are they?
All right, so we've got this one
what
here.
I sent you. Oh yes. Yeah. Now this is an example. This is
Peabody,
from
right?
It is. This is an example from Works Reunion East, which was at Amelia Island this past March. And I sent you that picture because this was really a fun exhibit to do. We have the car there up on a tilt because we didn't do a full restoration on this car. We did the chassis. We did the chassis and the braking system and the car and the engine.
Oh, so that's why it's exposed, so you can see it that way.
So you could see, you could look up in there and see that. And it kind of shows the fact that not everything is a full 2-3 year long restoration of a barn find.
Okay.
Right? So
this is interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I'm going through this with my own car right now because of something like that. So we did a turbo not long ago. We did the engine and the suspension and the braking system and what have you. Everything but the body and interior basically because the car frankly didn't need it. But it had high mileage on it. And even without that, it becomes an age issue. And the deal is you don't realize how used to everything you get by driving the car every day or every weekend whenever you take it out.
Right.
You just kind of get used to it. So it's like I joke around. I say when I look in the mirror every day and I think to myself, I look pretty good. But if I look at a picture from 20 years ago,
oh man,
not so good. So
I played that game yesterday, man.
So that's the car thing, right? So so I got to
100%.
drive this car that we did for a customer. We put validation miles on them, and I drove that car. And it was so good. It was a G model turbo 930. It was so good that when I got in my 964, which is supposed to be this step forward,
evolution.
Nope.
Really?
Time to get out the checkbook.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're
That's
like
really
all
high
going
praise.
through this right now.
No,
Like Nick
seriously,
just
it's
got
true.
his gearbox back. You're redoing your motor.
But
I'm
see,
redoing my motor.
And
but-
that's the argument that I always make for the sort of like love the patina. The patina on the outside's fine and all that, but I think mechanically, it's a disservice to the next generation to never know what that feels like, what the engineers intended. Now, we had an advertisement that we did in 000 magazine, and it was the 356 project car that we had last year at Amelia Island. And it was a barn find car, had been sitting for 31 years.
Was that the silver beehive coupe?
Yeah, the 50 and the 50.
The one that Jeff wanted really bad.
Yeah.
He's like, don't restore it.
Don't restore it. And I mean, I get the whole patina and sort of that it's only new once kind of thing. But the ad that we ran basically said, future generations will thank you. And it's
that's
point,
cool.
right?
I like
because,
that. Yeah.
Because then you'll know what the engineers and what Ferry Porsche felt in the 1950s when they designed that car, so that you could go to the dealership and buy it new and feel what a Porsche was like. So if we never get them to that point, then the people new to this will never really have that opportunity. And so I think that's kind of a disservice in that way.
I posted something the other day. There was a 356 in some shop, I can't remember, but I literally asked the question of patina, beautiful or neglect? You know what I mean? Because it's a hot topic, especially these days as
and
more
it
people are
was
leaning
even
towards
on your
patina.
thing too. 'Cause
Exactly.
It was like, oh man, you just get all kinds of answers. It's funny.
I'm in agreement with you that I have no issues with patina on the outside, but mechanically it should be strong, brand new, as good as can be underneath. Underneath it should be as good as can be. I don't understand there is no mechanical patina. That's neglect.
Right.
That is neglect.
Right.
Yeah,
If
no,
you
I'm
happen
with
to like
you on
an
that.
artistically, if you happen to like the look of faded paint or chips and stuff like that, That's a choice, of course, but that I think is fine. You're not doing any disservice to the vehicle or the people you're driving around on the road.
Your paint doesn't affect the capability of the car to
Right,
drive.
the safety, all the elements,
Yeah.
the fun factor.
No, in fact, I'm fine with a few of the paint chips because then that feels so bad if I get another one while
Yeah.
I'm driving.
you
you
can
know?
drive even
Yeah.
harder into that
Yeah.
corner.
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely.
Exactly.
That's a good
So
point.
That's kind of where I'm going with my own car, and I think that picture that we had up there is an example of that.
Yeah,
So
I like
just
it.
I'm gonna
showing
now
that off.
Hop over to this one here. I think I know what this is.
Yeah, in fact, you remember this.
You're there, right?
Remember that,
Yes, I do. That was fantastic.
John Oates, another fellow that we need to have on your show.
Yes,
Would love
please.
to.
Friend of Rod Emery.
There's
In
Ramsey
fact,
and Ray.
There you go.
yeah, there's Ramsey. Yes, we're standing
thought
there
so.
watching, and that is
That's
John's
John Oates right in the center there.
with his Emery special. And this
It was
right,
built right up the street here.
That's right. That's right. And so that was just a great evening. Again, talking about community and
Where is this, though?
That was at the RM auction.
Oh,
That
this
was
is
that.
really no kidding.
that's in the lobby at the Porsche Experience Center,
I
Atlanta.
love what you guys did, though. No one can see what I'm doing, but the little log holders there, and
Yeah,
just
it's in
all of the
coffee
set
tables
dressing.
and the chairs.
The
Totally.
set dressing is fabulous.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really neat.
Yeah, it was wonderfully done, and he's such an amazing, talented performer. When you get him one
that's
solo
great.
like that, yeah, just amazing. I mean, of course,
It's a neat little
Doing
intimate
music
setting
quality.
too, because there's probably I don't know how many people did you say there.
we had
100?
200. It was 200. We
200?
had room for 200 people.
It was
standing.
nice.
Sounds like a nice time.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we wanted everybody to come to the Experience Center last October for that auction as a way to finish the 70th anniversary and really to dive into the whole classic car community and bring them to the Experience Center, have a reason to do that. And RM Sotheby's was the perfect partner for that. John, who I'd met at the Experience Center when he came in one day just to do a drive before a local show, is just the consummate car guy.
Everyone's saying that. Everyone says
Yeah.
he's super
He's
cool,
such
super
a nice
nice,
guy.
and he'll talk to you all day about cars.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
He's
Matter of fact,
knowledgeable.
he even put together, I think with your help, he put together kind of a little slideshow and talked about the history of.
Is that what was going on there? Because
his-
there's a big screen
Yeah.
behind him.
The
It was
tractor.
neat. It was almost like remember like a
That's from
VH1
Rensport, the
like
tractor race,
It
right?
is.
storytellers. They used to do that.
Yeah.
VH1
Yes, of
storytell-
course.
It was like that, but with cars. And
Right.
Ray gave him the
he's
idea.
noodling with the music in the background.
Kind of, and it
That's
was like
beautiful.
his career, like through the years and what cars he owned, and the ups and downs of his career and his cars, what he owned at
Set
the
to the
time.
chronological timeline
Yeah.
of his cars.
It
That's
was
so
really
cool.
interesting. It was
Yeah.
neat.
Sorry
He had
about
old
And I-
pictures, and
Right.
it was really cool.
Yeah, he was, and I, of course, don't want to tell you all the stories because then he can't tell you when he comes, and he should do it himself.
I just I would be remiss if I didn't.
Yeah.
I just accidentally threw that up, which was Mrs. Ryan when she used to go through all her MS testing things. So that was it. Sorry about that. Totally
Yeah.
changed the subject there.
And you look great. You look like you're doing wonderful. It's good
She
to see.
is. She's fabulous.
Sure, I just caught my eye with that same sweater, and it just looks really different. That was a long time ago.
Sorry about that. It was a slip of the tongue here, or the finger here.
Whatever.
All right. Well, there's one more picture, and I'm sorry to cut you off there. There's one more picture with same two guys.
Ramsey!
Okay, so yeah.
There we
There
go.
you go. So I wanted to include this one because that is a surprise. John didn't know that this was going to happen, but Kevin Jeanette, Gunner Racing, Kevin Jeanette, who is a caretaker of so many amazing pieces of history and just the most genius marketing mind when it comes to racing. If you look back, this is probably a whole nother show, but if you look back into the 70s, 80s, 90s, and all the racing history into the 2000s, some really cool cars and some cool drivers that were in them. Paul Newman, among them,
Who?
and some other fella, an actor.
Some guy from Connecticut.
Get a load of this one.
I'm hilarious.
Look out for this guy.
But Kevin was one of the guys that came up with the idea that we should race tractors at Rensport, right? And so he prepared that tractor for John and Justin Bell to race at Rensport. And I don't know where Kevin finds the time to do all this, but that guitar, it's not really showing up in the picture that well, but
Just a
that
little bit of
guitar
glare there.
Yeah. That guitar is painted in a pink pig livery.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And so Kevin wanted to give that to John and surprise him at the show in front of everybody, which we gave the task to Ramsey because he's not shy.
Hey, everybody, here's your guitar. I love that man. Oh, that's the greatest.
Oh my God, Ramsey, I love
Yeah, that was a fun evening. That was
That's
great.
fun.
Yeah. So despite the way the picture looks, it's not Potts and Oates. It's still
look at
Hall
that.
and Oates. That was just for the guitar game. Okay, bad joke. But.
No, I'll take it. I love that.
My
it came
favorite
from you.
thing
I
of
wasn't expecting it.
My favorite thing of all that was like his big hashtag for his Emery
Special became Hall and Oates, like
Holland
H-A-U-L-I-N.
Oats, like Holland ass.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
Hall and Oates.
so
I was like, that
good.
is witty as hell. Love it.
Well, we have a
it's pretty
friend in
great.
the other room who was just out here a few minutes ago who was not aware because he's, living in his little box there, and he thought that he was like, well, why would Rod buy a build a car for the cereal company?
Yeah, right. Thought he was the Quaker Oats guy, maybe. On the
Well,
box.
no, it's just one of the, Heather posts all those little memes. It's so funny.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Ray Schaeffer, is there anything we should get to before we don't have this opportunity of having you sitting here? Is there anything we're missing?
I have a question. How good is
There we
the
go.
new Speedster in person? Because I saw it's there.
Good question.
Great
I saw that,
question.
yeah. And that thing's fresh down from the New York Auto Show, right?
And it's so good looking.
Yes, it is. Yes,
yeah,
it
how
is.
good is that? Because that's got the Heritage package on it. Oh,
Yeah, I like the
how
Heritage
good.
package a lot better than I thought I would. That's
It's amazing.
Right down to the decal that's on the hood is the 1960s Motorsport decal.
We have that too.
Yeah,
No,
I love
wait.
it. So
Nick
cool.
and I were literally just talking about those the other day, how they were like orange.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
almost like a neon orange color.
And with the Porsches in white across the
Right.
top.
He has some NOS ones from a 917 that have never even been used.
Is it
So
the
we
one that's down
geeked
there?
out
Is it
about
the
all
one that's
that.
on the thing there? Is it that, or is it close to that?
It's close.
It's close.
Close to
It's
that,
close
okay.
to that one, yeah.
Okay.
But as phenomenal as the car looks, and it looks marvelous.
You look marvelous. Well done.
You know where I'm going with it.
Well done.
I can only imagine what the drive of that must be like. I mean, I think about those mountain roads that we have in North Georgia, and I just can imagine an open top GT3 with the low cut windshield that it does have. It's not a standard cabriolet windshield.
I think that's why it looks so
Yeah,
different.
it's lower
So
cut,
good.
Yeah.
but those carbon sports seats, that GT3 based motor with the
Because I think a lot of people were afraid they weren't going to do that. That it wasn't going to
It's-
come out with the GT3 engine.
Is it the
and
4.0
it
motor
is.
again?
yeah,
Is
it has some changes to it though, specifically to
okay.
the Speedster. And when you have a chance to read about the technical updates to the car, if you will, it's not just a topless GT3. There
Right,
is
yeah.
a lot.
It's easy to call it that.
Yeah,
Sure.
there is a lot to that car. I believe individual throttle bodies.
Oh, my God.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's going to be, and
Wow.
the arrow underneath the car, I didn't take pictures of it, but I did lay down and look up underneath the back of that car, and I mean, it's impressive.
It would have to be, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, gosh, to drive that with that manual gearbox, with the roof open like that, and
I
the
know.
sound,
Now, are those all spoken for already?
I don't know. I'm not involved.
Not that I have a pony in this race, obviously.
Are you selling or dealing with allocations now, Ray?
Nope, don't send me your emails about that.
I'm
'cause I
just
have
curious
nothing to
'cause
do
I know
with
they're
If
it.
you want to get on the list, here's the guy to put you.
Yeah. They're not making that many, right? It's
1948.
right.
That's
for
more
the
than I
world.
expected. That's
Worldwide.
nice.
World for
That's
the world.
it. That's
Wow.
it. Yeah, done.
Yeah.
1948, capping them.
And that
Classics
heritage
up on top of their game. They're
Yeah.
forward thinking.
exclusive manufacturer, I think, is involved in that part of it. From the standpoint of the heritage package. And so with the meatball that's on there, you can get it blank, or you can have the number 48 that designates the first year of Porsche, or you could pick any number from 0 to 99.
And have them do it.
I'm out.
Yeah, I know you leave it blank so you can put your 211 or 111.
He needs 3 digits, man.
111, right. But again, it kind of goes back to the first thing we talked about, and that was what Nick's working on, and that conversation we had that I still hadn't finished.
Sorry, Ray.
That's all right. I just go off on so many different fun things.
You're so interesting.
There's so many fun things to talk about.
Let's finish it this time.
We have
though.
a couple more hours. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah,
We gotta wrap it up.
Let's finish the story. So we were having the conversation. Now that we've done this Carrera GT, it'd be like, well, what do you think the more modern classic is that somebody would want to do a restoration on? Do you think anybody would be restoring a first-year Boxster or anything of that nature? Probably at some point you might, but the conversation's shifted towards the first generation GT3 because that was the 996, and I think if anybody's going to do anything first, you may see somebody take an 0405 GT3 that became a track car and maybe at some point turn
Oh.
it back to a showroom example.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Or does somebody get inspired by that Carrera GT maybe and do some type of recommission? I don't know. But it's interesting. Again, when you think about the future, where this is all going.
Well, it's cool as the option is there now. You know?
Agreed.
That's what's really cool.
Something you brought up, which I was not aware of, and I think it was that white car with the side. I'm going to use Singer as an example. You can't go buy the Singer exhaust and the Singer wheels or whatever. You need to have Singer build you a car. So you're saying that you don't have to necessarily do a whole thing. You will actually do certain aspects in certain areas.
Yeah.
That to me is very cool because it really opens up your customer market.
Yeah,
Not everybody can necessarily afford a full redo, but maybe half the stuff.
And that's why I love going there. Like anytime I'm in Atlanta or whatever, I'll drop by and he'll take me in the workshop and there'll be a new, G-body up and it's like, oh, he's just getting the brakes redone on it or whatever.
That to me
like
is
that's
just the
really
coolest.
neat. It's not like you don't have a full commitment to a complete restoration.
But it's so much more accessible that way.
Absolutely.
I mean,
and it's being
you know what I'm saying?
Done correctly. I mean, this is all Porsche parts being used.
That's what I mean.
It's
Porsche
to me,
trained
mechanics.
It's a much more attractive opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's neat that they do that.
Want to keep them on the road, keep people driving them.
It's a fun hobby that these boys have, and so you make it accessible to like play with it, to do it, and make it accessible to everyone. It's really.
We love
I've told you how much I'm grateful for the brand, like what you guys are doing, and it's just every step you guys take. It just goes farther.
And you look like you're having fun with it too.
Yeah.
I've seen the videos.
You know it.
It's
the best thing ever.
Well, otherwise, she really tolerates it for me, I guess. Maybe. I don't know.
She's a really good actress.
Yeah, maybe all the above. Is there anything else you want to hit? Otherwise, we should probably wrap it up. I'm conscious of everyone's time at this point. We've gone 2 hours and 15 minutes.
It's great.
Go say hi to Ray tomorrow at the
That's right,
Porsche Classic tent.
at LUFTGEKUHLT
We'll get to see you tomorrow.
I do want to talk about Do you know where your spot is?
I do.
Are we allowed to
Are we allowed to talk about
Tell him.
I think you can say.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're in the...
Yeah,
Can I say it?
Yeah. I think we're going to be in
Mr. Sandman.
the gas station
Courthouse
across the
Square,
street
yeah.
from the court.
Yeah, he's at the gas station. Back to the Future.
Yeah, I don't have the picture loaded up, but I just
so
posted
cool.
those pictures the other day. I need fuel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right.
where you'll
in
be.
your DeLorean.
That's
in the
where
time
we'll
machine.
see you.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I
Cool.
didn't bring a little special gift for you because I have it there. Everything was brought out there. So when we see you guys tomorrow,
that's
stop
very
by,
nice of
and I've
you.
got something for you. I want you to
That's very good.
I'm so excited. It's going to be a blast.
It's going to be a
Have
chair
fun.
for me. With houndstooth. I'm already prepared.
Thank you so much for doing this again.
Love you
thank
so
you
much,
for being
dude.
a friend to us, and thank you for being a supporter and contributor to the
Absolutely.
show.
Thank you for the
It
opportunity.
means the world to us
Well,
because
and
we're
to me
just
as
having
well.
the most fun.
Thank you, and I appreciate it so much. It's great to be here with all you guys as well, and enjoy this weekend we're about to enjoy.
We have a good team.
Yes,
we do.
Being part of it.
Here.
All right, Mrs. Ryan.
Here's to another
Yeah.
year.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right? We're going to do it again next year,
First
right?
of
Let's commit to
many.
that.
It's a thing now.
Mrs. Ryan, tomorrow is LUFTGEKUHLT. It's at Universal Studios. I think tickets are sold out. I don't know. Look online. But it's a big event. It's going to be a blast. I'm really excited. What, are you going to the early one? What are you going?
Yeah,
8
I'm
o'clock?
going with Nick because he's taking
so
the
you're gonna
White
be in the
Mouse
show.
car.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, good.
Yep.
All right, that's it. Everybody, we love you. I don't know what camera we're on or anything, but Mrs. Ryan, I love you. Ray Shaffer, we love you.
Love you too.
Tori Alonzo, we love you.
So glad
Nick
you're here.
Hunziker, we love you.
Love
we love
you.
everybody at home. Please love one another, and we will see you next week. Great guest next week, too. I can't remember. Chris Jacobs from Overhauling and everything else that he does these days.
He'll be here Wednesday.
And Sam Tripoli. And there's a lot of great guests coming
Yeah.
up. Love you. See you later.
Look at how much more studios I look at.